So, greetings. This is General CJG here, and today we got a fucking bombshell of a freaking announcement that came out of nowhere. So out of nowhere that the moment I woke up, I was like, what the fuck? And then I see it and I'm like, what? So, yeah, that happened. And yeah, Aspyr is back, and oh boy, they definitely did something unexpected for all of us. And when I say all of us, I mean me and my two other people and my two other partners that are here. So introduce yourselves.
Yes, this is Captain Henson, and well, may I just say, although this was a surprise to be sure, but there will be a welcome surprise for me in the future, I have no doubt.
And
Jedi Knight Luke here, everyone. Hope you're all well. And I'm going to semi piggyback off of Henson here. A surprise to be sure, and a bullshit one.
okay, yeah.
Oh, Luke, you say bullshit, but I mean, really, what other game would you have wanted them to do instead of this?
Oof. Wow, there's plenty to
You are.
pick.
Well, A, you are joking, right? And B, provided the remaster was done right, there are several candidates that would have been far more worthwhile than this.
So I'm of this opinion. Now, the way I see it, between Aspyr and Night Dive, although we all know who has the most remasters under their belt with the Star Wars license at this point, that they definitely plan on remastering, I would say, just about every 3D console Star Wars game. Now, whether or not we ever get to the various RTSs, we'll have to see on that. Or if they go to something like, what was it, Demolition. But them doing Jedi Power Battles doesn't surprise me. I expected that, well, I imagined they would probably do the movie adaptations, again, console video game adaptations. And so, because we're getting Jedi Power Battles, although I don't know why we got this one first instead of Phantom Menace for PS1, although I guess that did kind of sort of get re-released, some time ago, but still. So we're getting this, and I'm sure at some point in the future we will get Phantom Menace for PS1 remastered. And this one will definitely make me happy. Revenge of the Sith. If for no other reason than to see one of my I just realized both my co-hosts have blue backgrounds. Well, one of
I wonder
my
why.
blue background co-hosts will quite literally throw a fucking tantrum when that news drops, and I will, quite frankly, enjoy the show. You see, Bounty Hunter, a game that I wanted to have the best people behind for its remaster, well, that didn't happen, and I have no reason to really play Aspyr's remaster. So, it's only fair, I think, that the same fate befalls Revenge of the Sith, a game that, while I do enjoy, it's certainly not up there as one of my favorites. Now, Jedi Power Battles is a game I played once when I was a child, and I was so bad at the game I couldn't get past the first level.
Oh.
Also, I didn't really try, but still. So this game I don't have much in the way of nostalgia for. And since I haven't played it since then, again, I don't really have a connection to it, but as with all of these remasters, I hope at the very least it is good. I mean, I know this is Aspyr, so they've already set a really low bar for themselves. But, as long as it's, solid enough, you know, controls well, high definition feel and look to it, everything's crisp and clear, then fair enough. But we'll have to wait and see on that.
Oh yeah, indeed. So, look, what is your reaction to this one when you first saw it?
Why? Well, no. Firstly, it would be what, followed very swiftly by why, because okay, full disclosure, I have not played the game, but the only accounts that I've heard from people who have played it are very negative, largely because I hear the game is very difficult. And I'd assume probably not for the fairest of reasons either. So that alone makes me look at this and think, really? They're remastering this? And of course, as a byproduct of that, second, there are several other candidates from the 6th gen. Well, actually, no, this was 5th gen, excuse me. But there are other 6th gen games that would be far more suitable candidates for remasters, especially following Bounty Hunter. And
You want to know something interesting about what you said about this in 5th gen? This game is actually available on the PlayStation 1 and the Sega Dreamcast. So it's a 5th and a 6th gen game.
okay, so in that case, saying that there are other 6th gen candidates which would be better, better to remaster than this, does in fact make sense. But then also, what the fuck? Aspyr still have the Star Wars license? I mean, I don't think we need to drive that certain collection remaster into the ground more than we already have. So that alone should have been enough to for Lucasfilm to dive right in, as quickly as I don't know, 2 Jedi using Force speed perhaps, and snatch the Star Wars license off of Aspyr. The only reason that I can think of the only reasons that I can think of as to why Aspyr still have the Star Wars license now is twofold. A, clearly them butchering the Battlefront games was not bad enough. I know I said we wouldn't go there, but it kind of has to be done in this instance. Clearly that wasn't bad enough as far as Disney and Lucasfilm were concerned to strip the license from Aspyr. And B, I'm guessing that they just about Aspyr just about saved themselves with the Bounty Hunter remaster being functional enough. Those are literally the only reasons as to why I can think they still have the license. Never mind to make a choice as baffling as this.
I mean, I'm sure it's also the case that Aspyr comes up fairly cheap.
Yeah, that would be one.
Because, I mean, you look at something like, I don't know how much cost goes into the Night Dive remasters compared to Aspyr's remasters, but based on what we've seen, I would say Night Dive goes a lot deeper into their remasters than Aspyr does, so perhaps the cost is more. I mean, again, I don't know for certain, but I would imagine one of the reasons why Aspyr has the license for pretty much every remaster, save for one right now, is because they are cheap and for the most part, they are dependable. You have your snack, some of them massive snags, but still, we have what? the Battlefront collection, of course, we have the whole debacle around the KOTOR remake and as well as the KOTOR 2
on Switch.
with its DLC. But as far as I'm aware, you know, outside of the controversies around the KOTOR stuff, there hasn't been a lot of monetary setbacks when it comes to Aspyr's remasters. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I'm aware, they haven't like fucked up so badly that they are actively losing money on these remasters. So, due to a combination of all the factors I just described, that's why we're still with these guys.
It's possible that while they did lose sales because the Battlefront Classic Collection being not, that good, especially with the online literally being deader than OG Battlefront 2 on PC, and Battlefront 2 EA getting a lot more players. So that would be one sign, but given that they're still doing Bounty Hunter and now Jedi Power Battles, it could be possible that anything involving online multiplayer, they probably just are not going to touch again, like ever, and they're just going to be doing all sorts of local single player and local multiplayer stuff, which explain the local multiplayer. Well, Jedi Power Battles, that's 2-player co-op. So it's possible that Disney might probably told them, yeah, just don't do any more online, okay? Just stick to doing local single player and multiplayer stuff for now. Like just do that for now. It's possible that happened. And also another reason why Aspyr's still doing it is because not only would they be a bit more cost cutting in terms of not spending much on commissioning them to make the remasters, but also they release them quick compared to Night Dive. Night Dive, they do take their time and they do go from IP to IP. They don't release several remasters from one specific IP immediately. So it's one then another. So it is possible that they still go faster because they just release them quicker. Because in this year we got what Battlefront Classic Collection, which piece of shit. Then we had Bounty Hunter, and now we're getting Jedi Power Battles in January 2025. Which I do gotta mention something about that release date. But yeah, so okay, so we're getting Jedi Power Battles 2025 in early 2025. So it's like they want to release one every 4 or 5 months at most. Like that's what it seems, if you ask me. Like, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I would definitely say, they are cheap and they get them out quick. So, unless we have like a series of massive bombs, we're sticking with Aspyr.
Yeah, completely ignoring the fact that the Battlefront disaster should have been proof enough.
Yes, but you also have to keep in mind that was one disaster compared to, like, at this point, how many remasters have they done with the Star Wars license?
Oh, let me think. 2, 4. Those were the 2020 and 2021 remasters. Outcast Academy, Racer, and Republic Commando. Those were the first 4. And then, what was it after those?
Give me a very quick second. Okay, so all the remasters they've been doing since. Okay, they started with. I'm not including the Linux or Mac ports or Android ports from games from the 2010s and before, because that used to be their MO.
Yes, post Disney buyout.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so first they started with Star Wars Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast, then they went with Jedi Academy, then they did then they did Episode 1 Racer, then Jedi Academy, that's 3, then Republic Commando, that's 4, then Knights of the Republic 1 on the Switch, that's 5, then The Force Unleashed on Switch, that's 6, then KOTOR 2, that's 7, then Battlefront Classic Collection, that's 8, now Bounty Hunter, that's 9, and Jedi Power Battles, that's 10. So out of all of those, they've had two big blunders, and yeah, two big blunders as far as I can tell. The others they go from decent or okay to good remasters, depending on which
Well, I
one you
mean,
talk to.
it's not about the quality of the remaster, it's about how well they sold.
Yeah, there's that too.
So, given, I mean, I don't know if any sales have been released, but I'm sure that, these remasters do sell well, which is
Yeah,
another reason that
yeah.
Aspyr keeps getting the license, or still has the license.
I would. Yeah. I mean, you only have to look at, and to be fair, we were part of it initially. You only have to look at how much hype the Battlefront Classic Collection got before it released. And whilst I'm sure these remasters have sold well enough, I think that one in particular sold well and then some.
Guys, I just found something that you're probably gonna be like, "What the fuck?"
Oh, just show it, General.
Yeah. So, give me a second. Um, give me just a very, very quick second. I'm gonna stop the screen. Okay. Let me share. Be ready for this, guys. You're probably gonna be like, "What in the mother of fuck?" You seen that?
Yeah.
You might want to read that paragraph below Battlefront Classic Collection sales.
Since its highly anticipated release on March 13th, 2024, the Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection has stormed onto the gaming scene, captivating players worldwide, according to Game Sensor's forecast. The first week of Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection sales on Steam alone saw revenue soar to nearly $3 million off the back of 100,000 copies sold.
Yeah.
So there you go. It sold well, so yeah.
And apparently it sold much more than the re-releases of Battlefronts 1 and 2 on PC. Yeah, I'm not kidding on that one.
Which is odd because the first Battlefront coming to PC as a standalone game was only 4 years ago.
Yeah, and Battlefront 2 as well.
Battlefront 2's PC release had been available for much longer.
Oh, it was like 6 years, I believe. Yeah, because in 2018, if I recall. So yeah. So it seems that the classic collection sold a lot more. Apparently, plenty of people still wanted to buy it, even though the classic collection was dog shit.
So there you go. And not only did it sell well, I'm sure it didn't hit or didn't affect the Bounty Hunter remaster too much, if at all. So there you go.
What do you think of that look?
Yikes.
Apparently, we're staying with Aspyr for God knows when.
The foreseeable future.
So now you're starting to get more scared of them remastering your favorite Star Wars game?
I will wait to see if it actually happens before.
Oh,
I
it will
say
happen, Lou.
anything.
He can stop being in denial.
No, wait, stop it. This is not me. This is not me being in denial because thus far they've not rumored it yet. If the rumor mill starts going, then you'll see me get worried.
Well,
I would say this announcement enough should be a reason to worry.
Consider the saving grace I have with this is that the game itself I don't care about very much. So,
yeah, but it does set a worrying precedent for the future. Not just episode 3, but whatever the hell they're gonna do next.
Well, then you'd best hope
perhaps,
they don't
as
touch
was
Cold War
pointed
2002, General. Just saying.
perhaps, as was pointed out, Revenge of the Sith is also a beat 'em up, so perhaps this is them testing the waters, so to speak, to prepare them for a remaster of the other console beat 'em up Star Wars game.
If common sense prevails, this shouldn't sell as well as the previous remasters have done.
Well, that would be one way to put it. But there's another key factor to consider. Look, next year, you know what it is. So it is.
It's an easy way. I know where you're going. Yes, it's an easy way to capitalize on that. But again, I will start getting worried if the rumor mill starts spinning. Anyway, back on track. Shall we see this trailer?
Oh yeah, sure. Let's see the trailer. Okay, give me a second, guys. Let me get it from freaking Aspyr. Okay, the announced trailer. Now this is gonna be good. Okay, ready, guys, to see it?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Now let's see. Ready? Okay. I heard a sigh. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Well, I can say this. It looks just as janky as the PS1 era games. Lol, when did we get...
I feel like similarly to, well, I know this is a difference, but I feel like we could have gotten this paired up with the Phantom Menace game.
Yeah, it would have been a good combo, especially for physical versions.
I mean, yeah, I know, with the Battlefront collection, two games in the same series, but like two tie-in games to Phantom Menace. Okay, you could have done a few things, like, also have a Battle for Naboo, but like, I feel like releasing this on its own is odd. Because, at least as far as I'm aware, this isn't there isn't like a huge fan base surrounding this game. I could be wrong.
Not really, no.
But yeah, releasing this on its own, I feel like they could have paired it with another Phantom Menace tie-in game.
They could have made an entire collection that has all three: Jedi Power Battles, the Phantom Menace video game, and Episode 1 Racer. That would be a good one.
I mean, we already have Racer, so...
No, I know, but I mean putting it in a three game package. That's what I mean.
Well, I suppose Battle for Naboo would make a bit more sense with a Rogue Squadron collection for obvious reasons.
Oh yeah, the Factor 5 collection.
Or then again, Aspyr don't do triple packs, do they? If this was
They did at one point do a package, but that has all 6 of the remasters, all the KOTORs, Jedi Knights, Episode 1, Republic Commando, in one.
But have we had a physical release triple pack from them?
Triple pack, no, but that 6-pack did release physically at one point.
Because I was just thinking, So Henson said that Battle for Naboo would make a bit more sense to pack with the Rogue Squadron games. To me, that would make more sense to pack with the Starfighter duology. Because
Maybe.
Battle for Naboo and the Starfighter duology are all prequel games. In fact, the former two are both Episode 1 tie-ins.
I mean, there is that, but you have the Factor 5 connection, the fact that Battle and the first Rogue Squadron look very similar to each other, both being N64 games.
Made by the same developer, has the same
Yes, so I
engine.
just think for those reasons alone, it just makes more sense. Like gameplay wise, Battle for Naboo is a spiritual successor to Rogue Squadron.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yes.
did release after, right?
Yeah, it released after.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so Battle for Naboo is basically a spin off of the Rogue
So,
Squadron series, so it just makes more sense to pair it with them.
so if 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 Aspyr, the old Aspyr, the good Aspyr, went your route, you'd have Battle for Naboo and Rogue Squadron in one package, and then what, Rogue Squadron 2 and 3 in another.
I mean, if we have to do the double, then yeah. But I would say you could easily release them in a single collection.
Mm. So gonna ask you guys, what did you thought of what you saw in this trailer?
I mean, it's the game.
Well, yeah, it is the game, all right. Look, what did you think of it?
I see all sorts of janky glory with 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 perhaps slightly better, or maybe they're brand new reflections.
I mean, maybe, but oh man, this really looks like an PS1 game. Like holy shit. I mean, I'm up for playing games of those eras, but that's me. I don't know about other people. I mean, just look at that, especially. Holy shit! Oh
I mean,
man.
it didn't seem to affect the previous games of this generation that were remastered, so.
Gen were Episode 1 Racer, and which other one? They did another one, right? Besides this one. I think it was just Episode 1 Racer, if I recall. Probably did one more. Yeah, Episode 1 Racer is like the only fifth gen that basically they basically remastered. Now they are doing Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver 1 and 2. That is also another remaster they're doing. That's releasing later this year, which is why that's probably why Jedi Power Battles released in 2025 instead of 2024. That could be why. Another reason could be that they're maybe polishing Jedi Power Battles, actually giving it the polish that it needs versus the other Star Wars games.
Couldn't even finish that sentence, huh?
No, I couldn't. Yeah, what do you think of that look? That this one actually has 3 months left to cook.
To me, to me, I mean, okay. On the one hand, yes, all developers should take their time with games, whether they're building a game from the ground up or quote unquote remastering it. I mean, seriously, you can't even be bothered to make the game look more modern, but that's a different thing entirely. Though on the other hand, really, you're gonna give this game the extra baking in the oven that it needs, and treat the games that the majority of people care about like trash?
I don't know what to tell you. It's just I don't know if Aspyr has different priorities, or maybe or if this game is just seeing this trailer, it kind of feels like a troll game of sorts, even though it's official, and even though it should be preserved like all the others, but it just makes you wonder what is this? Does this look like it looks like an April Fool's game of sorts? Something you released in April just to make some joke. Like you do that, but that's the vibe I get when I'm seeing seeing this trailer and seeing that it's this game of all things. So like I don't know, that's the vibe I get from this. I know it's mostly because of the jankiness of the game, but it really does kind of feel like it. That it kind of feels like a troll game of sorts. Kind of like what Night Dive did with what was it? Poe's shooting game. The one game they unveiled in April 1, but turns out it was actually getting remastered. So, like, it feels like that type of game, except that they didn't announce it in April, and they are actually remastering it. So, yeah, that's the vibe I'm getting. I don't know what you guys think.
Well, the way I see it, I didn't expect them to do this game. Well, at the very least, at this point in time, I definitely thought that they would exhaust the big names that everybody knows and goes to, and for their top 10 greatest Star Wars games of all time. Like, over this game, we could have gotten Clone Wars.
We could have also gotten the Rogue Squadron games.
Battle for Naboo.
That one too.
The Starfighter duology.
Yes, yeah. I mean, if we want, I know, we did do Force Unleashed, so like, we could do the Wii version of Force Unleashed 2. Well, I suppose that could have been a really great April Fool's announcement.
Force Unleashed 2 on the Wii? More than
Okay.
this?
Well, I mean, like I said, it would work for an April Fool's announcement.
You know which one would work even better for April Fools? Super Bombad Racing.
Oh, that's one of the exact examples that I was thinking of when we were speaking via DMs, General.
Actually, we still don't have Shadows of the Empire, do we?
No, and I hope to God Aspyr doesn't get their hands on
How
it.
have we not gotten Shadows of the Empire? One of the most well-known Star Wars games of all time, remastered.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's the same case as to why we haven't gotten any of the Rogue Squadron games. Like, they're also the most well-known, and we haven't got them yet. So, God fucking knows. No idea.
Like, I mean, in terms of the games that, like, should be, or at least the big names that you'd expect to be remastered, like Republic Commando, both KOTORs, Bounty Hunter. I guess I can also say the last two Dark Forces games. Yeah, because I mean, Episode 1 Racer is certainly a big title, but it's not one that you would like expect them to release so early.
In 2019.
Regardless, I feel like by the time we would have gotten to this remaster, we would have gone through like most of the big titles, and yet we still have so many titles to go through. Like Shadows of the Empire, how has that not gotten a fucking remaster yet? My hope is that because of the time it was released, Night Dive gets that.
Could it be possible that maybe they're just waiting? That maybe they're just gonna be doing Jedi Power Battles, and then they focus on a certain movie
Sure.
tie-in game for
Shush.
2025 because that's the year of Revenge of the Sith 20th anniversary. Uh, and then they'll probably do something else that's tied into the prequels. Maybe they would finally give us the episode. No, wait, no, the episode one game doesn't make much sense after episode three. So maybe they could give us a Starfire duology, or
Well, to be
maybe
fair,
they'll-
General, there doesn't seem to be, or maybe I'm just missing something, but there doesn't seem to be any real logic to what they release. It
yeah,
seems
this
to be
kind of
all
breaks
over
it.
the fucking place.
To be fair, in 2019, 17 years after it came out is when the Jedi Outcast remaster came out. So there is no plan. Even the good remasters, which were literally the first 4 or 5 of them that Aspyr did, was just kind of throwing coveted games at the wall, and fortunately those remasters stuck, and everyone they've done since has had some sort of issue.
Yeah, that seems to be the case. Yeah, but it makes you wonder, like, what actually the Battlefront Classic Collection makes some sense that released 2024 because Battlefront 1 released 2004, so 20th anniversary. It does make some sense for that. Makes you wonder why Battlefront 2 was put there, but as well. But regardless, so they did use that one for
Well, I
that.
mean, you would think that if we're doing anniversary, well, I mean, they're not doing anniversaries. They really don't care too much about that because, I mean, then we would have gone Bounty Hunter in 2022.
We didn't get anything from Attack of the Clones tied in 2022.
So I very much doubt that they would if they do release the episode 3 game in 2025, it won't be to tie into the anniversary. It'll just be because, it just so happened to be that's when they're releasing this remaster.
I think it would be foolish for them to not release in 2025, like completely foolish.
Well, I suppose now the question would be, since they're releasing Jedi Power Battles of all games, what's the next? Well, maybe saying WTF is a bit extreme, but what do you expect to be the next WTF remaster we get?
Well, remember all those WTF options that I said back in our live stream of Battlefront Classic Collection?
Remind me.
I started with Star Wars Obi-Wan. then I went with Rebel Assault. Then I went with which was the next one? The next one was I did say Starfighter there. Oh, Episode 1, Phantom Menace, the video game. I did say that one in there, and then Starfighter, and that's when I basically said okay. And then at that point I threw Shouts of the Empire to the Wolves. Then of course I retracted that in the next live stream, and actually now it's Episode 3, the one that's to the Wolves. Sorry, Luke. So. I said all of those. But now I guess let's throw in. I guess now they could actually do Star Wars Obi-Wan. I guess now they would actually do that one. Holy shit!
So, looking at the list of Star Wars video games on Wikipedia, I would have to say, a part of me does want to say the Rebel Assault games, but then on the other hand, those seem a bit too out there for Aspyr to remaster them.
I mean, but
it's possible, but just with how those games are, they're Like, yeah, I mean, you can look at Jedi Power Battles here and see a game from the PS1 era, but there's, it doesn't look like too. It's not as well, it's dated, but like you can still like play along with it. Well, with something like the Rebel Assault games, those are so early to mid '90s.
I mean,
Well, I mean, what with their digitized actors and all that. I mean, of course, we had the first three Mortal Kombat games remastered like what was it, like 10 years ago at this point. Still, though, I think for what Aspyr is going for, I don't see them doing the Rebel Assault games, at least right now.
mm,
So, actually, you know what? My WTF pick, TCW Republic Heroes or lightsaber duels.
okay.
I would
Okay.
also say Jedi Alliance, but since they haven't remastered any portable games, although I do think we could get a. Well, I mean, nice is putting it loosely because, I mean, the games we're talking about it, but I do feel like we could easily get a TCW collection.
Mm.
But
It's not going to
there are
happen, but point being, my WTF pick, is a tie between TCW lightsaber duels and TCW Republic Heroes.
Okay. Look, what do you got to say about that? Since you're the TCW fan here.
well, that's not true. I'm not the only one. But anyway, see, Republic Heroes. There is a little bit of sentiment I have for that game because I will not deny I was very hyped. I remember seeing advertisements for it on Cartoon Network in the run up to what was that, October 2009 when it came out, and I remember getting it for Christmas.
Hey, I also
So there is
remember being kind of hyped for it. Kind of.
so there is a bit of sentiment for me with that. Even though I fully accept the game is not all that great, lightsaber duels. See, what really sucks with that is that game, even though it doesn't have as much content as it could have had, that game could have still been rather enjoyable if the controls were actually responsive. If the most logical remaster, like if you were gonna remaster lightsaber duels, the most logical platform to do that with would be the Switch, because doesn't the Switch have the gyroscopic sensitivity, which is similar to that of the Wii Remote with the Joy-Cons?
Yeah, it does have that. Only thing is that it's not as precise as the Wii's motion controls with the Motion Plus and the sensor bar. Because apparently somehow the sensor bar and the motion plus they tie together and they make it so that it is very pretty damn precisely accurate to the point in which games like Skyward Sword and Metroid Prime Corruption use it very well, and also Wasteful Resort. So they do it pretty damn well there. But that, and in the Switch, while yes, it works. It definitely has more trouble properly aligning itself with where you want it, because since there's no sensor bar, it's even less precise than the Wii one. Works, but it's not as good as back then in the Wii.
So I'd imagine that out of all the game, like if lightsaber duels were to ever be remastered, it would have to have major reworking. Probably you would have to consider it a remake at that point.
Yeah, I was going to say, because lightsaber duels. See, I would, if it worked, because played, I have played the game with a friend before. If lightsaber duels actually worked, as in the controls were responsive, I would probably play that an unhealthy amount, just because, you know, I like Star Wars, obviously, love TCW, and when people who have a firm enough grasp on the controls for that can actually make it look half decent, it's an enjoyable watch. But it would, as Henson said, you'd probably, okay. So you know how there are lots of games, particularly in the racing genre, that use the same name as a previous classic, but the game itself is completely different.
Mm-hmm.
You'd probably have to go that route with lightsaber duels then. Like make it a TCW tie-in, have the have um, the art style that's reminiscent of the CG from the show, but but you know, and but you'd probably have to redevelop it from the ground up because that game was released literally 6 episodes into TCW's original airing span. I'm so you don't have as many moments within TCW's story that have been adapted for that game. So you'd probably have to do a new TCW lightsaber duels game with, redevelop what that game, redevelop what that game was from the ground up, and use that as a base, and then just go wild from there with cosmetics that are actually worthwhile alternate outfits instead of just palette swaps of the default outfits.
I did think General Grievous's alternate color scheme looked really cool as a kid. I believe it was like a really dark blue with red highlights.
There we go. So yeah, I mean, I suppose you could keep again if lightsaber duels was to be remade, starting with remaking the exact game we got, and then just go wild from there with a lot more characters, a lot more skins, a much longer story, even if they were just adaptations of the fights, and even more environments to fight in. If I think keep, I suppose then you could keep the palette swaps ish, but the palette as in like the alternate colors, but of course they're not actual outfits. So unlocking actual alternate appearances would be the next step forward with the customization in that game, I suppose.
Talking about Star Wars fighting game made me realize that, perhaps my WTF pick should be, say it with me now, Masters of Terras Kasai.
Oh, ugh.
Or Kasi, however you pronounce it.
Again,
that would be hilarious.
Because, I actually played TCW lightsaber duels. I remember being able to control it just fine, but Masters of Terras Kasai, on the other hand, well, that game is notorious.
Master Scassi would be interesting to see. And actually, there is more potential of that one being done because if for as much as Aspyr doesn't have any consistency on what games they'll release in terms of Star Wars or any other IP, there is one consistency, and it's that they usually focus on On 6th-gen games, sometimes they do 5th-gen games, like in the case of the Tomb Raider trilogy, Legacy of Kain 1 and 2, and of course now with Jedi Power Battles and Episode 1 Racer. So they do sometimes do 5th-gen, but they usually stick to 6th-gen games. So that is the one consistent thing they do. 6th-generation games, from the PS2, OG Xbox, GameCube, that type of era. So in that sense, and that means that lightsaber duels be hard. But then again, they've already done the Force Unleashed on the Wii, so maybe they could do lightsaber duels. Maybe.
Still should have been the one for PSP with the fighting mode from the Wii version.
Of course,
and the historic missions and the Order 66 Horde mode and a couple of other modes that I'm forgetting off the top of my head.
I will never forgive them for, instead of doing just the complete package of the standard def version for Force Unleashed, they just went with the Wii version. It's just these are the types of things that truly pissed me off. Like, they had an opportunity. Now, of course, they have an opportunity for a whole bunch of these fucking remasters to give us like the definitive versions, but rather than doing that, they either give us like some bits, like with the Bounty Hunter remaster, instead of having the bounty system be like just completely fucking better. It's like, oh, it's kind of better, but like there's still much that could be improved upon. So it's like, well, thinking about it, I don't know if there are any like major differences between the PS1 and Dreamcast versions of Power Battles. So like, I don't know if there's anything that should be like put in. Okay, well, let me ask this: which version are they remastering for this release?
That's a good question. Given the
because it looks like the Dreamcast version.
Yeah, I was gonna say it looks more like the Dreamcast version. It has a PS1 jank, but that's mostly because the game was originally released for the PS1, and the Dreamcast port is probably just with high textures and better solutions. So it would have to be the Dreamcast version.
And as far as I'm aware, the only difference between those two versions is the graphics. Now, it's been a while since I've seen Flandrew's video on the different versions. Oh, yeah, I forgot we did get portable versions of Power Battles.
Yep, the Game Boy Advance version. Wait, what? I thought it was OG Game Boy. What the fuck? Oh shit! I didn't know it came out for the Game Boy Advance. Goddamn.
I've said it before, but like, I know remastering like portable games, especially games of this era, is like that. There's just no point in doing that. But like, I would really like for some companies to release a collection of the portable ships. I know I've said it before, but like, come on. Now, I know the portable shit is never as, nowhere near as popular or as big as the console PC.
Unless you're Castlevania.
Yes, I'm just speaking strictly on Star Wars here. But still. So, it would be cool to remaster games from this era and do as many versions as you possibly can. Here's the Jedi Power Battles remaster, but it's the remaster. It's not only the remaster of the best version of the console game, but here's the portable version. Hell, for Force Unleashed, I still feel like they could have done, here's like the most complete version of the console games. That's it. Or the most complete standard def version of the game. So basically the Wii version with all of the PSP features. I say Wii version just for the
Shits and
improved
giggles.
graphics.
And not to mention the Wii version has the dueling mode.
Yes. So yeah, the Wii version with all the features from the PSP version, and then have the HD version there along with the DS release. And if you want to get really fucking crazy, the shit, what was the N-Gage? Was that the one I got?
Oh, God.
Engage in iOS, the phone versions.
Oh, God.
Yes.
Never played him. Never played him.
Because, like, game preservation is important. And for a lot of these releases, these kinds of collections would be like the only fucking time they would get properly like released through official means.
I mean, something like that?
Yeah, something like that. So, like, yeah, you could have had, you know, the most complete version of the standard def Force Unleashed, the HD, DS, N-Gage, and like if we want to push it, but I would say why the fuck not the iOS. Now, because like all three of us grew up in a very interesting time in gaming where
And Star Wars.
you could, let's say, watch a commercial or look through a magazine and see a game advertised and it releases on all these different fucking consoles. Wow. I can get a game for both the GameCube and Game Boy Advance. Wow. Only for you to realize that, oh, wait, they're two completely different fucking games. So why are they being advertised as the same game? It's madness, I tell you.
Pardon,
Why
Henson?
not capitalize on the fact that we are a part of that, or capitalize on the fact that games released during like the 2000s did that. So like, oh, here's a remaster of The Force Unleashed, but here are all the different versions, you know? Or, oh, here's Jedi Power Battles, but all the different versions. And within reason, I'm not saying, oh, release both the PS3 and Xbox versions of Force Unleashed here.
They're the same game.
Like, obviously, pick the best release of the game and go from there. But unfortunately, we don't live in that perfect world. So,
Oh, and you know what time we also don't live in anymore. And I mean, you can say, because Henson and I have spoken in private about that period where multiple games with the same name could be completely different. We've spoken about that before. But you know what we also don't live in the time of anymore? And actually what we're seeing on screen now is indicative of that. You see, kids, they used to see now we're sounding like old people. Back in our day, there also used to be a time with DLC, and eventually you would get a re-release of a game with all the DLC added onto the disc. And
you see, and before that,
yeah,
you would have, well, PC games would have what they called I mean, we still get expansions, but like expansions would get physical releases and then a gold edition. Well, possibly, but point is, expansion before our time, there were expansions. And if you want to go even further than that, shit like Wolfenstein 3D, even a lot of games on the Apple devices were basically downloadable. The point being, there were certainly good things during our time as a young gamer or growing up as gamers. Like, remember when the most current gen Nintendo system was the Wii? And while like the PS3 and Xbox could get like all this cool DLC, if you had a Force Unleashed on the Wii, you couldn't play those Infinities
Yeah.
missions. So, you were kind of like sad.
Those those missions were never even developed for the standard def version.
Although I will say this, one thing the Wii, I guess also all the standard def versions, is the fact that, when you play as a different skin, that skin is there in the cutscenes because they aren't
Oh yeah,
rendered.
R- real time rendering. Yeah,
Yes, real
yeah.
time rendering. So if you want to play as like the Sith Stalker throughout the entire game, you can. It's
The
like, yeah, sure, the pre-rendered cutscenes do look good, well, good enough,
mm,
because the PS3 era of games could look, but it does suck that like I can't like play as Obi-Wan Kenobi serving Darth Vader or something stupid like that.
sadly, yeah, the current gen Force Unleashed games, current gen, the seventh gen, excuse me, those the cinematics were all pre-rendered. So if you used a costume that that was different from the one each mission gave you at the very beginning, it was very immersion breaking. You would, I don't know, you'd fight. Say you used the Jedi Adventure robe in the mission on the Empirical, and then by the time you reach the end of that level in the seventh gen version, you're all of a sudden seeing the pre-render where Starkiller is back in the Empirical robe, and it's almost like the cutscene when you take that liberty. It's almost like the cutscene intruding on the illusion and saying, excuse me, sir." That,
Yeah, plenty. Yeah, there are several games that do that. The only ones that don't do it are those that have their cutscenes completely rendered, not pre-rendered, like rendering live. That stuff like the Metal Gear Solid games. Those definitely you can use whatever outfit, and no matter what it is, it's gonna be in the cutscene. Hell, it could even be a wholly different skin or mask or whatever. Hell, it could even have freaking naked Snake without the shirt and just the pants, and yeah, it show up like that in the cutscene. So you'd have that, but then you get some stuff like, for example, Final Fantasy VII, the original, in which all the pre-rendered cutscenes, yeah, no matter what outfit you put to Cloud or Boss Sword, he's gonna be using his classic outfit and everything. So and of course, in the case of the Force Unleashed 1 and 2, the only some pre-rendered, there's some cutscenes that are in game, but most of them are pre-rendered. So yeah, the same is going to be using the same outfit from the cutscenes. Yeah.
but also as well, I just want to say a couple more things. So, Henson, with what you were saying about, I can't play as Obi-Wan Kenobi in Force Unleashed 1 serving Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Sadly, you kind of couldn't do that either in the standard def version, because all of the character skins in the standard def versions that were the canon characters would, or the established characters, I should say, would actually cause the cutscene to it would cause the cutscene to skip, and it would say, cutscene unplayable due to current use of a custom skin or whatever. So
Huh.
if you weren't, this is with the standard def version. If you were not using a Starkiller skin in that version, and using the skin of an established character, the cutscene would skip with
Oh
that.
wow,
Well, at the very
that's
least, you could
that's even worse.
play as. I mean, yeah, that's. I mean, how? Like, why the fuck would you do that? But
I'm just being
at the very
honest.
least, you could play as different Star Killer or have Star Killer in its various outfits, and the cutscenes would have that outfit.
But I mean, yeah, like I say, if you use an alternate Starkiller skin in the standard def version, you're fine. It's if you use a skin of one of the established characters in that version that you can't watch the cutscenes. But back to the other thing, and again, with what I was saying about the complete editions of games you would eventually get once all the DLC was out.
Yeah.
And yes, you still get them now, but there was a period of time where these complete editions, where you had the base game and all of the DLC, which would usually be Game of the Year editions.
Oh yeah.
There was once a time where, when those releases came out, all of the content would actually be on the disc. These days, for some reason, even with these supposed complete editions, it's only partial content that you get on the disc, and there's usually a massive download attached to it as a huge catch in order for you to get everything now. And I mean, we're seeing it here.
In that image. Yeah.
Download and internet required, which there is no excuse for, because all of these games, compared to the Switch, are obscenely old and should fit on a Switch cartridge no problem.
Well, I mean, keep in mind, there's other freaking third party entities that like to use downloads more than putting the entire game on the fucking cartridge. I'm looking at you, EA and 2K, with your sports games. So
I'm. It's a fucking tragedy, I tell you, real fucking tragedy.
oh yeah.
So this,
But it's like, it was also cool when these complete editions would also have different covers. Like I think of the one for the Injustice Ultimate Edition. Like you have the format of the OG cover with Batman, Superman, and then portraits or profiles of some of the other characters. But the Ultimate Edition, still had the Batman, Superman fighting, but then had the profiles of the DLC characters.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, that's really cool. Or hell, even thinking back to like something like the Ultimate Sith Edition. Force Unleashed, that really, I mean, I'm not a Steelbook guy, but that awesome image of the Sith Stalker in his Hoth getup. Just
yes.
I mean, the Force Unleashed 2. Well, Force Unleashed 2 did the Force Unleashed 2 collector's edition. Well, I guess that is a collector's edition, not ultimate edition. But you see, like that is a beautiful fucking image.
Oh yeah.
Of course, I mean, I've always been a fan of the Hoth outfit for the Sith Stalker because it's Vader, but like edgy as fuck.
I mean,
you can tell Force Unleashed came out in like the mid to late 2000s. Just look at that design.
Oh, by the way, I just noticed.
It's a hot topic, Darth Vader. I'm just saying.
Lol. By the way, I didn't notice until now that look what logos there that ported the PC version back then.
I know.
Didn't notice until now, but yeah. Anyway, so fun fact: I actually owned that Ultimate Sith Edition twice in the PlayStation 3. I owned it 2 times.
I did own the Ultimate Sith Edition physically. I owned it. I had the standard game first, and then for Christmas of 2013, I got a PS3 Essentials sample of the Ultimate Sith Edition, and I had that for a time. But also as well, and I've only just thought about this now, and I assume we're meant to be seeing a little bit of Force energy here underneath this version of the cover, and then I actually didn't realize. So like the blue is the Force energy, and what I didn't realize is that the white, I assume, is meant to be I don't know. Is that meant to be the snow of Hoth, perhaps?
Yes. Yeah, it is a snow of Hoth.
I actually, for a long time, didn't associate that as being the grounds of Hoth. I honestly thought it was just the Sith Stalker against a white background.
You know, a bit off topic, but seeing this really made me think back. I do believe we brought this up in conversation before, but like a proper Star Wars fighting game
Mm-hmm.
with like characters from all over the fucking place. Like, don't even have to have a story or anything. Just like, because like, yeah, I think like, oh, Star Killer was in, well, Star Killer, Yoda, and Vader were in Soul Calibur
So Calibur 4.
4.
Yes.
And it's like, we've had Masters of Terrace Kasi.
Ugh.
We had the fighting mode in the Wii version of Force Unleashed. We had lightsaber duels, but like, I feel like we definitely, maybe not need, but it would definitely be great to have like a double A. I think a triple A would be pushing it, but definitely like a higher budgeted fighting game.
What?
You did forget one game that also has a kind of versus mode that is kind of like a fighting game, Henson. Do you remember? Do you know which one, or shall I look be the one to say it?
I know. It's only the game a certain someone has been shoving into the ground for the potential inevitability
Yes.
of being remastered.
Yes. One of the only reasons to play the Revenge of the Sith game, right.
What do you mean one of the only reasons to play it? Screw off.
One of the only
I knew
reasons.
that would get under your skin. But
Okay.
yes, so we've had various game modes and like, well, a couple game modes and a couple of standalone fighting games. But I do think we could use a proper fighting game. Like, imagine a roster of not only Star Wars or the movie characters, but then also tons of video game characters. Like, imagine a game where you could play as Star Killer fighting Darth Bane's greatest inspiration, Darth Revan.
Oh, talk about the creator rubbing his own ego.
Because and also a cool thing with there is that you could do what like Injustice, at least Injustice 2 did with having unique dialogue interactions.
Oh
for
yeah.
fights, and with Star Killer and Darth Revan, you could have a neat little reference to the deleted scene from TCW because Sam Witwer.
Oh yeah.
The point being, I think a Star Wars fighting game would be great. We have
yeah.
several games that have shown us that have laid a groundwork.
So
I guess you could just take the mode from Revenge of the Sith and just like make that a full game.
Like that? What you're saying there?
Yes.
in fact, so you said about I do have a couple of things to say. A Star Wars fighting game, like an official one that is good, is something I would die for. Just because lightsaber duels are awesome, and when fighting games are done right, they can be a blast to play. So, Henson, you said about at minimum a AA budgeted Star Wars fighting game. General, what would a AA Star Wars fighting game be akin to?
What you're seeing on screen?
Well, no, as in what AA bracket
modern AA
fighting?
general.
What AA bracket fighting games are there that a hypothetical AA Star Wars fighting game would be in the same vein as?
That's actually a good question because I've not actually dived into the fighting games underneath the AAA. Because AAA we obviously have the likes of Street Fighter 6, Mortal Kombat 1,
I mean, honestly, I
Dragon
think
Dragon Ball Z Sparking Zero just came out.
I mean, I think we've reached a point. I mean, do we really even get double A games much anymore? Because it
We
feels like we
do
only really get
from
triple A.
we do
Also, the fact that we
from
don't get as much released today as we did like 20 fucking years ago.
we do get some. We do get some from some of the bigger publishers, namely Nintendo. But there have also been a few others like the Bulb Digital and a few others. I think also Seed Project Red at one point. But we have gotten them from some companies. Just they're not as common as AAA games, but they are still around. The company where you get the most is definitely Nintendo. That's they'll definitely give us something that's in that category. They'll try pricing it as actually no, they have priced it in AA type pricing, $40, $30. So they have done them, and I'm not just talking about remasters. I'm talking about like actual smaller budget type games. Kirby in particular, I think has gotten some of those. So we have gotten from them.
I will say this: when it comes to fighting games, even though I'm not too well versed in that genre, those do tend to lean either AAA or indie. So
yeah,
Well,
fighting games is difficult to see if there's AA.
I was gonna say, aren't you kind of, if we were to get a modern Star Wars fighting game, wouldn't it kind of have to be AAA given the popularity of the IP?
I mean,
given
in
the
a
fact that,
way.
well, I mean, when you consider VR games double A or even like single A, like Vader Immortal, I wouldn't really consider that a triple A game.
Squadrons could be AA, kinda.
Well, regardless, I suppose, given the state of the Star Wars gaming space, with us getting a game every like few years, which I suppose is another reason why we keep going to Aspyr, cheap, they get things out quick, and because, well, when you have to wait like multiple fucking years between the AAA releases, you have to release something.
The latest one that came out is Star Wars Outlast, and turns out not many people are playing it. It got like 1 million copies sold, but like weeks after it came out, not in the first week.
Is Outlaws double A or triple A?
Definitely AAA. Definitely AAA. I mean, it's Ubisoft, and it's open world, and it has multiple planets, and yeah, it's AAA all the way.
Okay, so looking at Wikipedia, not including, shit like mobile games,
Ugh.
like in 2015, and also excluding SWOTOR, we had a Battlefront in 2015,
Mm-hmm.
Lego Star Wars TFA in 2016.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Then we got Battlefront 2 EA.
Battlefront 2 in 2017.
Then we
Fallen
had
Order in 2019. Wow, we got nothing in 2018.
yeah.
2020. Yeah, I guess I can't say Squadrons.
Mhm.
Then 2021.
Fuck
Nothing
all, if I recall.
big. 2022 gave us Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga.
Mm-hmm.
23 gave us Jedi Survivor.
Mm-hmm.
24 gave us Outlaws.
And
then in the future, don't even know if Eclipse is going to come. Don't know about the KOTOR remake.
we also don't know about the third Jedi game from EA and Respawn.
It's only just been confirmed.
Okay, so although we've gotten like a game a year, you know, still though, there is plenty of time in between these releases to get like in 2024 alone. We got the Dark Forces remaster, the Battlefront collection, the Bounty Hunter remaster, and Outlaws.
Remember the time when we actually got, at minimum, 2 new Star Wars games every year? Sometimes 3, if we were lucky. And I know, General, you've said before that 2005 was an anomaly because we had 4.
Yeah, I mean, looking at 2005, we had Republic Commando, the first Lego Star Wars, Revenge of the Sith.
And Battlefront 2.
What the hell? I'll include this for the shits and giggles. The Revenge of the Sith Activity Center. Star Wars DLC expansion, but still Star Wars Galaxies Rage of the Wookiees. Star Wars Galaxies The Total Experience. Star Wars Battle Above Coruscant. That was a mobile game. Republic Commando Order 66, another mobile game. Battlefront 2. Galaxies Trials of Obi-Wan. Galaxies Star Kid. And Star Wars Battle for the Republic, which was another mobile game. So in terms of like the big releases, so Commando 1, Lego 2, Sith 3,
and
Battlefront 4.
Yep.
So yeah, there you go there. Oh, but look at 2004. That gave us Apprentice of the Force.
I actually like that game. I do have it on GBA.
Yeah, 2004 gave us Battlefront, Star Wars Trilogy, Apprentice of the Force, the Galaxies expansion, and then KOTOR 2. So that's a fairly stacked year.
The 2004, 2005, 2002, and 2003 have been stacked years for Star Wars.
Oh, 2002, that gave us Bounty Hunter, Galactic Battlegrounds, Clone Campaigns, Attack of the Clones, The Clone Wars, Race of Revenge, Jedi Starfighter, Jedi Outcast, and then the new Droid Army.
Oh, wow.
What was that, 7 games?
8.
Oh, wow.
Well, I mean, Clone Campaigns is an expansion, but, it's like, I guess technically 7. Not including the, yeah.
Go ahead, look. Going back to the fighting game thing for just a second, there actually kind of is a fan project fighting game.
What
are you talking about?
Put it up on the screen right now.
Yeah, what is it? Look, it's a link.
The problem is, because it is what it is, I'm worried that explicitly showing it could result in what's happening to it.
Okay, and this is Disney. They can better get picky. So not as much as Nintendo, but
Nintendo can go to fucking hell for all the shit they've done.
Hang on.
But I mean, is Disney known for taking down fan projects?
Well, they did take down the KOTOR Apparent remake, and they did take down the Galaxy in Turmoil project. So,
yeah, I forgot about that fan-made KOTOR. Oh god, that.
Yeah,
I still remember seeing the gameplay of that. Fuck.
Aperion.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was actually going to make the original game playable.
Something which we've yet to see, but yeah.
Okay, hang on a second. Just looking. Just
like, oh yeah, General, did you see that trailer for? I think it's called like another Metroid 64.
I did see something like that, weeks ago. It looks pretty cool.
Trailer for that.
It does look pretty cool. I would like to play it. It'd be fun.
Metroid 64 game we never got, and as a fan of that era of graphics, like quick aside, I am happy that the indie space has started well, not completely moving away from the 8-bit 16-bit stuff, but I'm glad we've been moving towards like the fifth and yeah, I guess just the fifth gen of graphics.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed. By the way, there it is. What Luke just shared to me. So
Not sure if I ever heard of those.
me
I
neither.
might have.
I've just sent you another. I've just sent you another image of the.
It's
well,
very damn small.
The roster has expanded.
No,
has
no, the
expanded
image you
since-
sent does. No, the image you sent me is very small. I can barely even read.
I know what you meant. I know what you meant. I'm just saying, the roster has since expanded by quite a way since the
Wow.
since.
Yeah, I'm looking at a screenshot of the roster. That is a stacked list.
Like I said, it has expanded by quite a way since. I'm just.
It does look interesting. I won't lie.
Yeah, I'm watching gameplay of it
Me too.
now.
Me too. I'm also seeing it. Oh, it does look pretty interesting.
Oh wait, when you said stacked list, did you say in relation to the video you were looking at, Henson?
No, I was seeing a picture on. Oh wait, that might not have. Okay, that might have been for a different thing. I saw a picture on Reddit, but nah, it's a.
Oh, this looks pretty damn cool. Lol, even have Indiana Jones. Lol, so much
God, I completely forgot about Star Wars Redemption.
Oh yeah. Darth Luke versus Darth Talon? What the holy shit. Okay, that sounds
Okay, yeah, the video I'm looking at is version 4.0 from 3 years ago.
I'm looking at one from 5 months ago. And it looks sick as fuck. Obviously not showing it in the live stream because, well, you know. Lol, even has Rey calling her Empress Palpatine. Lol, and Dark Queen.
Wow, the Night Sister outfit for Ventress looks really cool.
You know, this does look like one of the like a game that would. Oh, holy shit! Even look. Lol, Chancellor Palpatine fighting with the light. Oh my god, that is. And the Mandalorian for the helmet. Then Plo Koon versus Fennec Shan. Yeah, this shit looks really cool. Encompasses both eras apparently, because. Well, then again, yeah, both eras. Darth Revan and Malak, definitely you. Talk, lol. Fed Kirkanos. Man, this looks sick. This is definitely like this definitely would be like one of the coolest things ever. It's just no idea why Disney or anybody else doesn't want to see hey, let's do a fucking fighting game. Let's put all eras. Let's go batshit crazy. So it can be non-canon. So let's do whatever the fuck we want. Like I don't get it.
Yeah, like remember back in the day when like, oh hey, we're making a fighting game mode for the Force Unleashed Wii version. But let's just throw in Mara Jade just for the fuck of it.
Yeah. Or
like remember when we could just get like just full on EU characters in well, I mean I guess we do well then again I'm not as well versed in the new canon at this point, so I don't know if we do get much in the way of like book and comic characters showing up in the video games. But like still, you know, back in the day, it was like, oh yeah, Mara Jade, or like I guess an equivalent would be Dr. Afro, you know, one of the big names from the new canon. She hasn't really made any video game appearances, but like Mara Jade not only made a few she was also like the star of an entire expansion,
Yeah.
which is just how the fuck did that happen?
Lucas
It was a
Arts just. What were you gonna
it
say,
was a
Luke?
different time. It was a different time. A time when passion was being put into the vast majority of Star Wars projects. A time when game developers took risks.
Yeah.
Remember when we could get like a bunch of different Star Wars games released in like close proximity, but they could all be from like completely different genres?
Or eras even.
Well, I mean, the eras is a whatever thing, but like, well, I guess nowadays, yeah, there was something to be said, but like, oh, here's a tactical first person shooter. Oh, here's a fucking racing game.
Oh,
Or,
here's
here's
a beat 'em up.
yes. So, like, we could get like a whole wide range of different things, but nowadays, like, this is also a larger thing of game development being more expensive than it was, like, I think even like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, the fact that games can look as like amazing as they do is, well, on the one hand, it's a double-edged sword. On the one hand, it can be like really fucking great,
Hmm.
but on the flip side, game development's really fucking expensive now. So, you know, that means, less games or less variety of games for something like Star Wars, where, like what, since EA got the license, we've gotten, in terms of the major releases, like two first person shooters, two, how would you describe the Jedi games?
To Dark Souls-esque Metroidvania games.
I mean, in turn, okay,
Or action adventure. You can just say action adventure.
two third person action adventure games, and then a flight sim.
Yeah.
So, like,
And now an open world third person shooter.
where's our Star Wars racing game? Where's our fighting game? Where's our,
Side scroller.
I was gonna say RTS, but I guess the mobile games have that covered.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we can't forget about the fucking mobile games, even though I don't consider them real video games.
Well, several companies do. You know what type of Star Wars game we're missing? Not a space simulator game, an arcadey dogfighter like Rogue Squadron or the Starfighter games. Something like that. Or maybe we could get a new arcade game that's not just BattlePod. The BattlePod works, but a brand new one. But no, we don't have that. Or maybe we could get I don't know, a 2D or a 3D platformer in the Star Wars vein, something like that. Would be interesting. Or maybe or maybe we could get a. Maybe we could get a freaking Zelda style, based in the 3D Zeldas from the 64 and GameCube era, where basically it's like like you go to several dungeons or something like that, and you basically have to solve puzzles and defeat the bosses. Basically, a Star Wars game that plays like Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask, or even like Twilight Princess, something like that. Maybe set aside of a big ass ship or something. You got like your hub, and you got several places that you explore, and then you gotta do a dungeon in each one that is like a sub level or something. Like something like that would be like kind of interesting. Think more lockdown, but it kind of plays like Zelda with some Dark Souls combat, and we got the mature rating there. I think something like that. What do you guys think of that?
If we could get a sprite-based Metroidvania of the fucking 2017 Mummy movie, then I definitely feel like Star Wars could do something like that. Maybe not like a Metroidvania, but we could definitely get like a pixel art or pixel based game, or hell, since indie games have now gone into the 5th generation of 3D graphics, why not do something like that?
They could.
Like, it's like maybe we could get, I don't know, what game needs a sequel? Like Republic Commando 2.
Fucking Christ. Of course.
Like, I definitely feel like, now, of course, one could make the argument that, perhaps, what generation are we in at this point?
We're in
9.
Nine.
Like, perhaps 9th gen graphics for Republic Commando 2 or Imperial Commando, whatever would have wound up being called, would be preferred. But, like, imagine how, like, cool it would be to get a proper Republic Commando 2 and just having it have the same graphics as the first game.
Well, then we'd have to wait one more generation of development within the indie genre for that.
The point being, for games that, I was gonna say KOTOR 3, but like that's a whole fucking can of worms. But or like, finally, or like take a game that served as a good foundation that could have had its like mechanics improved in a sequel, but then we never got a sequel, so that never wound up happening.
What type of game would be that?
Like Bounty Hunter is a good example.
Sure, no.
Like take the foundation of Bounty Hunter, but then like actually improve on the bounty system. Because I feel like a sequel to Bounty Hunter really could have given us like the best version of those mechanics and that gameplay that we just never got.
Isn't that kind of what a certain cancelled legend from the tail end of the LucasArts days was supposed to be?
I mean, 1313 was, I guess you would describe it more as a spiritual successor, but like, that's a rest in fucking peace. Same with the Maul game.
Yeah, Darth Maul game.
That would have somehow tied into George Lucas's fucking sequel trilogy with Darth Talon in it. But the point in all this is like, of course, I do make the argument that we could easily get new EU games, and you can do the indie thing of just giving them, older gen graphics. So, like,
it does
like,
make you
imagine
wonder
if we did get like a sequel to Shadows of the Empire, not in terms of like plot, but in terms of like gameplay.
It does make you wonder why they haven't even done it, like, at all.
I mean, to be fair, a lot of the major studios, gaming studios, aren't exactly like jumping on that bandwagon. Like, I'm glad the indie space is doing that, but like, of course, I'm nostalgic for that era. But there is something to be said about the fact that, creating games with 5th gen graphics, 3D games and 5th gen graphics is a hell of a lot cheaper, and there is a charm to those graphics, and art style is also a big thing. Like, as long as you got a good art style, then that can like make up for the graphics, because if you have great graphics but a terrible or bland art style, then like who gives a shit about the graphics? But like, yeah, like imagine if we did just get like a sequel to Shadows of the Empire. I mean, in terms of gameplay, or like a sequel to, the classic Rogue Squadron / Battle of Naboo. Shit like that. We could do it. And at some point, we could even get a true sequel to Republic Commando, but
Ugh.
or hell,
Oh,
of course, I mean, I would say Force Unleashed 3,
Oh,
but I still think we should have just allowed Sean Williams to write that novel, but we could do it. Even
you
if
know,
even if we have to like lower the graphics, like we could fucking do it.
I actually an idea has just come to mind. What about and granted, we'd have to wait for another generation worth of catch up in the indie world for it. But could you imagine a Star Wars Dark Empire game adaptation with Ultimate Spider-Man style visuals?
Ultimate Spider-Man style
Cell
visuals.
shading, huh?
That
It
would
was certainly
be
an
something.
interesting look.
I mean, I'm just thinking because Dark Empire, as we know, has a very gloomy and intentionally limited color palette in order to sell that look. And I'm just thinking if we waited just one more generation in the indie space, could those sorts of visuals be pulled off?
In a way, maybe. Though the closest we got to Dark Empire being adapted into video games, that 15 mission in Rogue Squadron 1, where basically it's the Battle of Mount Calamari with the World Devastators. We actually do have that rendered in released in the actual color palettes of Star Wars. So maybe they could have actually done Dark Empire without the full on dark colors, or maybe they could add a few dark colors, but not to the extent so that it's like so damn close to the comic. Like they could do something like that.
The,
Who knows on Dark
the
Empire?
the problem is, as great as new EU games would be, right now they're not happening because Lucasfilm still haven't given the green light for new EU novels and comics to be produced.
Or any fucking new EU media other than SWTOR.
Ugh. That I'm sorry, SWTOR fans who may watch this. That thing that thing is a leech.
uh, well, that list is still going somehow, so there is that. But
Yeah.
yeah, so in regards to getting like new EU content, yeah, we're just gonna be getting all sorts of reprints, remasters, ports, and shit, and in that big front line is none other than Aspyr themselves making more Star Wars remasters. Now I just gotta ask you guys one thing. If so, we know we know, guys, that we still got our picks. You know which ones? The ones that the ones that basically involve that. Hey, which is the game that the game that basically the game that basically, yeah, you choose as the one that gets graced by Night Dive and the other one that gets shitted by Aspyr. And okay, so I think our picks are still the same, or you guys want to change it now we know that they're doing Jedi Power Battles? Do they stay the same as the previous live stream, or now you feel different? So I'll go with I guess you first, Luke.
Ooh, the I don't want the episode 3 game to get screwed. However, I did way back when we started this, I did say I would stomach a crappy quote unquote remaster of that in exchange for a sound remaster of the Rogue Squadron games. Well, the second game specifically. So, oh Christ.
Actually, you know what? Let's spice it. Actually, you know
The
what?
trouble is,
Let's
I can't.
Actually, let's spice it up because it's gonna be because now that we know that they're doing shitty domestic Star Wars games with Jedi Power Battles, let's spice it up. So let's have one option by Night Dive, one of the games in this image thrown to the wolves by Aspyr, and the third one, you pick whatever shitty or mediocre Star Wars game they're gonna be doing. So 3 now. The third one being because we know now that they're doing shitty / mess Star Wars games. So, and since they're not in this image, we'll in their own category.
Okay, you know what we should do?
What? Let's hear.
We should just, obviously do this because, it was my idea quite a bit ago. You're welcome for me even coming up with this concept. But what we should do is make out a list of all of the Star Wars games that could realistically be remastered. So, not including mobile games or, portable games, just the console or fully fledged PC games such as, your Republic Commandos or KOTORs. So that way we can just have a full list of all the games so that we have something to look at when we always go back to this.
I'll definitely make it that image in the next time.
Because, we got a ton of shit, I completely forgot about the TCW games.
Well, the reason why we don't bring them up is because they're from the 7th gen, and those have not gotten remastered yet, unless it's standard definition shit, like the Force Unleashed one. But that's about it.
Oh, we will get to that point.
Eventually.
But yeah, even the older stuff, a lot of the RTSs. But okay, so I don't even remember what my choices were the last time.
Oh, I'll remind you easily since I actually rewatched those parts of the live streams before starting this. So your choices last time, if I recall, so since Bounty Hunter got taken by Aspyr, you chose Shadow of the Empire as the one to be graced, and the one that gets fucked is this should be an absolute no-brainer.
I suppose. Well, especially now after we got this announcement, I've only been affirmed of my previous decision. The problem here is there are so many Star Wars games I haven't even touched. So then it's if I say, oh yes, this should go, then it's I'm not losing anything. If I said Star Wars Demolition.
Yeah.
It's I've never touched that game, so who gives a shit?
That's why I made the third category where we're just drawing whatever shitty or mediocre Star Wars game that we're saying Aspyr's going to be doing. So the first one is the one graced by Night Dive. Second one is a good to great Star Wars game that needs some remaster remake treatment that it gets thrown to the wolves of Aspyr. And the third one is just whatever random Star Wars game you can think of throwing at Aspyr too, since they're not doing that.
Okay, so yeah, sticking with my choices for Shadows and Sith. And as for the one that's who gives a shit. Oh, let me think. I guess I would have to go with Racer Revenge. Actually, I'm surprised they haven't done that yet.
Yeah,
I think they would have done it with the first game.
Yeah,
what did you say, Luke?
I was literally just about to go where Henson was going to go because he's hammered that point in on more than one occasion.
Yeah. Okay. Luke, what are your 3 picks?
Am I allowed to give my favorite game its wishful thinking, or is that not allowed at this point?
I mean, I mean, you can give it if you want, but you're gonna jinx it. But you have a chance of jinxing it, like Henson did in the first live stream,
Well,
especially now that
the
we're
problem
more
is
sure that it could happen.
the problem is even if I the problem is even if I go for something different, as in a different good game, there's every chance that other good game could also get screwed. So it literally does not matter what we say. Everything is at risk. Every choice we make is at risk of being screwed.
Well,
So
look on the bright side, Luke. They're never going to touch the Lego games.
Well, you're safe.
Although, I mean, you never know.
Well, there's no need with Skywalker Saga out now. There's kind of no need to touch the Lego games, but I get your point. So I'm gonna say, okay, I'm gonna say.
I can make it easy. I can make it easy on you guys and actually send you a list of the random shitty / mediocre Star Wars games that I found.
What were my exactly? I remember when we did the Battlefront stream. I remember my picks were Rogue Leader and Sith when it was just the two categories. But what did I say come the? But what did I say come the? Was it the Bounty Hunter one that we did after, or was there one in between?
The the Battlefront one, you chose Rogue Squadron, and then you screwed over your favorite movie tie-in game, Episode 3 game, and then in Bounty Hunter, you basically still chose Rogue Squadron, but now you wanted to screw Episode 1 Battle for Naboo.
Right. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna say. You know what? A part of me wants to stick with Rogue Squadron 2, like as in for the one to get as in for the one to be graced by Night Dive, but a part of me also wants to say the Clone Wars, just because of having played that now, which made General very pleased. And of course, I'll always hold Revenge of the Sith in my heart, but as an official pick, that's now kind of under threat. In terms of one that Night Dive could, in terms of an official pick for Night Dive to throw to the wolves,
Night Dive, Night
Dive,
Dive,
not Night Dive, to be thrown to Aspyr. Excuse me. As far as an official pick that Aspyr could throw to the wolves, I mean, I'd still be angry if they fucked up the Episode 3 game, but we've got the original, which is just fine, so at least there's that. So I guess, you know what? I'll rip a page out of General's book and go with Masters of Terras Kasi. Which is that's actually also kind of going out of Henson's book. That game is crap anyway. So,
hey, look,
you can
use.
You mentioned Terras Kasai because I just had a thought. I think Night Dive should remaster that game.
There is no way they could do that.
Oh, they could.
I mean, they could remake it, but then again, that would take a lot of time and effort, and they took a long while to make the System Shock remake. So
here's how I see it. That game, out of a lot of these other games, could definitely get work done on it to make it, not a pain in the ass. Like, if that game could be far more playable than it originally was and be, good, then, that would be a good thing.
Probably.
Because like Revenge of the Sith, it's like, oh yeah, oh yeah, they fuck it up, boo, fucking boo. But at least that game had a solid foundation. So it's like, oh, grow the fuck up, stop crying. But with someone like Terrace Kasai, it's like that game was terrible upon release. So if we get like that game, but like fixed and improved, then it's like, oh my god, we can actually play this game.
Hmm.
So yes, that's why I say Terrace Kasai or Kassi should get a remaster by Night Dive so that it's playable.
More like a
does
remake.
it really? Does it really? I mean, I'm not. Does that game, like, of all the games? Okay, well, every game it inherently has the potential to be good, but would most people be clamoring for a Masters of Terrace Calci remaster? I don't think so.
That didn't stop Aspyr from doing Jedi Power Battles. Anything's possible.
Well, that's a remaster, yeah.
I suppose. Okay, but in terms of my final pick, so the
But wait, look.
okay.
Your second pick, you put Master of Terraskasi. That's not on the image there. Look, remember, the third category is for those random shit / mediocre Star Wars games you can put. So Master of Terraskasi would go into that one. The second one, which one would it be?
Oh,
Yeah, I know you're dodging it. Look.
you're being really. I feel like this is being really picky about it. Does it really have to be like the first two categories? Do we really have to stick to this image?
Hey, we've been sticking.
Think about it like this,
We've been
Luke.
sticking
The entire reason I created this idea was a means of interesting conversation. We have the games here that we think should be handled with the utmost care, which is why Night Dive should be the ones to remaster them. So it only makes sense to then say we have all these games that we want to be remastered by the best, but which ones would we sacrifice in order to get the ones we really want?
And one of them was already sacrificed.
Like, I want Shadows of the Empire to be remastered by them, because the original game could definitely use some work in order to have it be a lot more fun to play, at least in my opinion. But then it's like, okay, but what game would I sacrifice? If I knew for a fact I could get Shadows of the Empire, if I sacrificed another one of these games, oh, goodbye, Revenge of the Sith, you won't be missed. So, you, my dear British fellow, you must choose, as they say.
Don't listen to him, Luke.
So, which do you go with? Well, yes, you must choose. So, rise, my friend, and choose.
Look.
Okay. Well,
I mean, I guess we could also expand this list a bit more.
I'll definitely expand it later on. Now that we know that they're making Jedi Power Battles, so I'll definitely expand it. But for now, let's stick with this one.
Okay, well, Dark Forces 2 is kind of safe because, as far as we know, Night Dive are hinting at that one.
We can definitely expect it, I think.
Yeah.
Shadows, it doesn't mean much to me personally, but to me personally, I didn't say it was bad, but it is an incredibly important game in both Star Wars, for both Star Wars and gaming in general. So would I sacrifice that one? No. Rogue Squadron, I wouldn't sacrifice any of those, not even the third one, which is by far the most divisive out of the bunch. And also, as someone who kind of wants to experience those games, particularly the second one, throwing any of those to the wolves would be folly. Trilogy Arcade.
Oh, that's my only selfish pick.
Remind me,
Out of all
General,
of them.
has Night Dive done remasters of arcade games?
Of arcade, well, the closest would be that for the Forsaken remaster that, but it's not necessarily an arcade game, but it is definitely one of those flying FPS shooter type games. So it is so in a way it's kind of like it's not on rails, but they have mastered that type of you're in a ship shooting in space, so they have mastered it before. So an on rails game, they could dominate even more easily than that.
Yeah, this is one of those tricky things where I feel like until we get like an arcade or either Aspyr or Night Dive remastering in our wait, has Aspyr remastered any arcade games?
I believe they probably have done one or two. I believe so, but I need to check on that.
Yeah, because I feel like arcade games are one of those like tricky things where like we won't know until it's actually done. But I suppose just to be safe, keep it up here.
It's
Okay.
my one most selfish pick that I chose in that image, but but yeah. But considering that Aspyr did show kind of interest in me suggesting that one when I first suggested that image. Well, there's that. Well, not that image, but those suggestions. There's that.
Okay, Battle for Naboo.
Still gonna throw that one.
See, it's a little bit more tempting, but I don't know if I can bring myself to do it purely because, as far as I know, that game is not bad.
It's good, actually. But then again, so is Revenge of the Sith.
I mean, I guess this is the question to ask.
So,
when you want Night Dive to remaster a game, which would you prefer? For them to remaster a game that could use improvements a la Dark Forces, and then sacrifice a fairly decent game that is still pretty playable, like Bounty Hunter? Although Bounty Hunter is a different case because that could have seriously used some fucking. At the very least, the game has jank, serious fucking jank, but it's still playable. I feel like Revenge of the Sith is in a similar boat where, well, not in terms of jank. As far as I remember, it's like fairly good.
It's good.
But like if that gets a mediocre to piss poor remaster, like would that like really destroy the game that much?
The only way they can destroy it is if they literally release it broken, glitchy, and buggy. That's the only way they could destroy it.
Yes. Or God forbid. I was going to say remove content, but they wouldn't do that. They're not that evil.
Didn't they do that with Battlefront Classic Collection? The cutscenes in the campaign?
Well, I mean, wasn't that just like a glitch?
Not a glitch. Well, they had to. Well, no.
Like, I'm pretty sure there was like more involved with that situation than just deciding to remove the cutscenes.
It definitely not.
Like that
maybe
game did
not
release well.
Maybe it wasn't.
Or in a finished state.
Maybe it wasn't intentional, but they certainly do it. So,
like,
and not to mention,
I'm speaking on like doing it intentionally.
Republic
like if they were to remove all the characters in that fighting game mode and release them as DLC.
Okay.
Thankfully, I don't think they would do that.
No, for an old game.
But
no.
like, I unfortunately feel like we could reach a point where remasters or re-releases of games start pulling that bullshit.
But you know what they could actually do, and it's something that they have already.
Characters?
No, you know what they could do if they do go with Revenge of the Sith? It's something that they already did intentionally to two of their previous Star Wars remasters. They could remove the entirety of the multiplayer and just keep the campaign. Like all of it gone. They did it with Republic Commando. They did it with Jedi Outcast. They have no multiplayer to speak of in the Aspyr versions. So they could do that and just give us a campaign. No versus and no co-op missions.
I mean, I suppose at the very least with Revenge of the Sith, you can still play all of that, single player. So
yeah, the versus mode is sick, kick-ass.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have strong memories tied to the versus mode of that game with a close family friend. In fact, playing that with that particular friend was how I got introduced to the game in the first place. So that would be, and I also can't tell you how many hours I've sunk into playing that mode in the, if I were to hazard a guess, 14, 15 years that I've had my own copy of it. So that would be heartbreaking if it got remastered and that was cut out. Okay, so I guess I'm going to have to swallow the bitter pill. As in crappy EP3 port, even though I really don't want that to be the case, especially not if it gets released again for the film's 20th anniversary. But I guess I'm going to have to swallow that pill. I suppose I'm just going back to what I said in the Battlefront stream. Crappy episode 3 port if I have to stomach that pill in exchange for Rogue Leader.
Okay, and your shitty Star Wars game is Masters of Terrascasi, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, that slot you could put anything in there.
I know, but what are you gonna put? What will you put there?
Well, that's the thing. You could put anything there. Masters of Terrascasi, Obi-Wan, Super Bombad Racing. Actually, I wouldn't mind if Super Bombad Racing.
I forgot about that one.
I wouldn't mind if that one wasn't done particularly well, largely because it doesn't matter.
No. Okay. Well, then in that case, you're going with Masters of Terrascasi?
I suppose. Yeah, I'll stick with that.
Okay, then you go with Master Scassi. Henson, you said the one you want Night Eye to remake is Master Scassi? Fucking Christ, that would be...
I am saying that... Well, I'm not saying that as like a definitely do it now sort of thing, but like, I do feel like if they got their hands on that game, it could actually be, good.
There's something like what they did with Torah 3, something. Okay, so that's Master Scassi. And this with this image, obviously, Shadows of the Empire is the one you wanted to remaster the most. So that's your first pick. Your second pick is still Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, thrown to the wolves.
Yes, and now more than ever, I am convinced that we'll be getting Aspyr's Revenge of the Sith.
Oh boy, yeah. Okay, and crappy / mediocre Star Wars game, which is the one you're picking?
Yeah, I'll just say Demolition. That Twisted Metal, was it?
Yeah, it's kind of
Twisted Metal knockoff.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's really gonna be interesting when all is said and done and just see like
what they do next.
Yeah, this is what they'll do next, but also like when like all of the games you'd expect to be remastered are remastered. To see which ones were done by Aspyr and which ones by Night Dive, and just take a look at this list here and think back on what could have been for at least. Well, I mean, let's be fucking honest here. With Night Dive taking forever for their fucking remasters, by the time we get to all the games having been remastered, they would have probably done like 3, maybe 4.
True. But at least it would have been the best ever. Especially if something that shows the Empire, they do it.
You know,
And
I
Dark
guess that is the thing that we should like think about. Like, out of all of the games that we would want to be remastered, like, what games do we like honestly expect to be remastered by Night Dive?
Dark Forces 2, obviously.
Because I definitely feel like Dark Forces 2, I'm fairly confident that they would get Shadows of the Empire because it is a fucking surprise that Aspyr hasn't done it yet.
And
then,
yeah.
Like, I'd probably have to say they would do Rogue Squadron. Unless there's another PC game I'm spacing on.
No, not that I'm aware of. No, the only Rogue Squadron game for PC port is the first one.
So yeah, for me, I personally think that out of all the games Night Dive could remaster, I feel like those 3 are the ones that are the most realistic.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed.
Some of these others, like Revenge of the Sith, I think is wishful thinking.
Yeah, I could say that. Okay, now for me, let's just say that my first pick is still Shadows of the Empire as the one I want Night Dive to remake. The second one that I'm throwing to the wolves, that has not changed. Look, it's still, you know what, Revenge of the Sith. I'm sorry, look. You're probably still hating me for that.
You do realize that if the film's 20th anniversary next year has a remaster of the game coming out alongside it, and it turned out to be bad, you do know that a part of you will still be angry about it, right?
Yeah, but I know you're gonna be double angry, and you're gonna make us do another live stream talking about it. I know that will happen if it does happen.
No, if that happens to that game, I will be fair and let you decide whether we talk about it or not.
Oh, I would. I would.
See,
so
there you go.
So yeah, okay. So yeah, those 2 have not changed. But the crappy / Star Wars game. Now this is an interesting one because I last time I literally said Obi-Wan and Rebel Assault and Episode 1, the Phantom Menace game. Now I gotta pick which crappy / Star Wars game to give to Aspyr. Oh fuck! There's some good candidates here to just throw them just to do whatever they want. Now, Super Bombad Race is an easy one, though I could give it to them for April Fools.
Doing that one.
No, unless it's an April Fool's joke one. Unless they do that. So,
although, honestly, I do feel like we may reach a point where it's like we've gone through all the games that you expect to be remastered, so then it's like, oh yeah, Yoda Chronicles.
Oh, fuck, I forgot about that. That's PC only, if I recall, or was it actually released in consoles?
I believe it did get a console.
Yoda Chronicles.
Let me check.
I don't remember that shit getting a freaking.
Oh, and of course, how can we forget all the Flash games for TCW?
Oh yeah, there's that. Okay, yeah, it just came out for PC and for the Game Boy Color.
Okay, yeah, that was it.
Yeah, nah, it ain't happening if it's just PC only and doesn't offer much.
Not to mention it's a 2D sprite-based game, and well, we're not doing those, at least yet.
Yeah, so
I still think just release a collection of emulations of the portable and other sprite-based games. Like, imagine a collection of the Super Trilogy.
Oh yeah, that would be good. Yeah. Okay, so my pick. You know what? I'm gonna go with the first one I said in the first live stream, talking about Aspyr. Star Wars Obi-Wan. Oh, Star Wars Obi-Wan. You know that I'm now seeing it. When they announce the trailer and we see it, I'm gonna be like, this is gonna be the jankiest of them all. It's gonna be fascinating to watch, and plenty of people are gonna say, oh, this is probably not as good as the Jedi Knight games. Oh man, that would be hilarious. There are gonna be some people saying, "Oh, I grew up with this game. It's pretty cool. I want to play it again." Oh, I'm already seeing it. It's gonna be hilarious. So yeah. Oh man. But yeah, so that's my three picks. So Shell's the Empire Night Dive, one good one thrown to the wolves, episode 3 game, and the crappy Star Wars game, Star Wars Obi-Wan. So yeah. And speaking of good Star Wars game thrown to the wolves, look, I saw something that you probably would be like, oh no, don't, and you're gonna be, and hope you're ready to see it, because you're gonna absolutely be like, no. You ready for this?
What is this some sort of mock episode 3 game thrown to Aspyr image?
Oh, you guessed too soon. Look at it. It looks beautiful and pretty authentic. Look at that.
It actually does.
Oh, yes. What do you think of it, Henson?
Oh, yes, that's, yes, I do see that happening. If not in the near future, then definitely it will happen.
Oh, come on, look, what do you think?
If only 2019 to 2021 Aspyr was the company behind these Star Wars ports, because then we'd actually have our rest assured that an episode 3 remaster would be guaranteed to be good.
But now we know that it could either release buggy, broken, and all sorts of glitchy, or they could just release it competently but have no multiplayer. Could be either one. Who knows? Oh my god. Once they announce Revenge of the Sith, oh boy.
You know, and I suppose the reason why a lot of remasters don't do this is because it's technically not a requirement. But by God, a lot of these games would look fantastic if they were given, if the graphics were not just updated in terms of resolution, but if they were actually overhauled to look like the visuals that we get spoiled with nowadays.
Yeah,
like,
I would.
could you imagine the episode 3 game, or the classic Battlefronts, or Bounty Hunter with what's a really impressive modern game in the visual department?
Modern game in the visual department, as in a current game that looks so damn good visually?
Yes.
Well, aside from several of the first-party Sony games, like Spider-Man 2 and God of War Ragnarok, aside from those, I don't want to say Cyberpunk 2077. Because, well, I mean, it could have been one of the best-looking games ever if it didn't release glitchy. Though they say that right now it looks so damn, it runs pretty damn good and has not much issues. So maybe that one. Another one that would be I need to check. Which one comes to your mind, Henson, as one of the best looking games released in the current generation?
I mean, admittedly, I don't pay too much attention to modern game releases, but I don't know. I'm not the one to ask here.
Okay. Well, oh yeah, Final Fantasy VII, the remake and rebirth. Yeah, that definitely would count.
Man, imagine if they or if we did get a remaster of Revenge of the Sith, and instead of just like, I don't know, making the visual quality more clear and crisp, imagine if they decide to just update all the models and have them be the Battlefront 2 models of all these characters.
Oh,
As in
something.
the EA front versions.
I guess just specifically saying that they decided to have them be hyper realistic.
You know what, actually, yeah, EA Front 2, perfect example. Could you imagine, Eddie, could you imagine Episode 3 or Classic Battlefronts or Bounty Hunter or Republic Commando? Could you imagine those being remastered with EA Front 2 level visuals?
Well, the Commando, not so much actually, given that that game already looks pretty damn good for its time. You would only need like a remastering of sorts, that something like Unreal or something. Somebody actually made a video on that on YouTube. And it looks pretty damn good. So, I mean, maybe you could use the Battlefront EA visuals, but I think you could actually do something else, and it would
I
still
mean,
look.
I'm not saying like they should do it, but they could. Like, I think about those fan animations for TCW, specifically the Crystal Crisis arc, using the EA Battlefront 2 models for Anakin and Obi-Wan, and those look pretty fucking good.
Mm,
So it's like, I feel like that would be a cool thing to do with something like Revenge of the Sith. Like, have it, like, give it like a different look and feel.
mm.
I
Well,
mean, again, it wouldn't be a deal breaker. I'm not saying they should do it, but I would be curious, like, if they would do something like that.
yeah, maybe.
Now, I do think like updating. I mean, of course, that would just be a complete overhaul of the art style. But although I guess to be fair, at the time, what they were doing here was as hyper realistic as they could manage. So
There's that, yeah. Indeed. Oh, as Hellblade 2 Senua's Saga is another one that looks really damn good visually. And it was released a few months ago. So that's another one.
Yeah, I just sort of wonder, because to me, and maybe this was maybe this was Batman Return to Arkham influencing my idea of what remaster meant, but to me, because of that, when I think remaster, I think the visuals being updated in such a way that they actually look contemporary, and a lot of the time, remasters of these older Star Wars games look pretty much the same outside of a resolution update, which you'd have to squint kind of hard at in order to notice. Like, they
Yeah.
don't look modern.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we just saw Jedi Power Battles, and that looks pretty much the same as a Dreamcast.
yeah, I mean that's the thing though. You're just getting
It's more of
more clear visuals.
an HD port than a remaster.
So it's like I wouldn't necessarily want these games to have like updated models and graphics to look more contemporary. But I do think that would be, well, at the very least, that would be interesting.
Yeah, it would be interesting. Yeah. Speaking of remasters that I can think of that actually look visually much better than the original, even if the original looked better or worse, looked just as good and stand the edge of time. Got a question. Look, do you know which one is in my mind, or do, or do I tell you immediately?
Metroid Prime Remastered.
Oh, you know me so damn well. You know me so damn well. I mean, what can I say? That is one of the best examples of a pretty much remastered that, despite it being the same game. It looks like, and the original already looking pretty damn good. The new one just looks better, like across the board.
Yeah, that is the type of overhaul I'm talking about when it comes to visuals, not the ever so slight resolution increase that these Aspyr Star Wars ports seem to be, even the good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is. Now that I'm reminded of the Metroid Prime remaster, it's like, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's what we should be getting for all these fucking Star Wars remasters.
For all
Maybe
of
not
them?
all of them, but it's like on the one hand, like you see, that's the thing. On the one hand, it's nice getting to like see these snapshots in time. Like, oh yeah, kids, this is what humans used to look like in video games. But on the other hand, I imagine imagine being able to play like Jedi Power Battles, but like Qui-Gon actually looked like Liam Neeson,
Lol.
Of course, it would be nice if they actually sounded like they're supposed to.
Oh yeah.
It's like watching the cutscenes for the PS1 Phantom Menace game. It's like, how was any of that allowed? These characters do not sound anything like they're supposed to.
I mean,
or how about Obi-Wan in Star Wars Obi-Wan?
oh god. God, that's still one of the worst voice actors I've ever seen.
It fucking it just boggles my mind. Like, before we got to like James Arnold Taylor and stuff,
Matt
it's
Lucas.
like, oh yeah, just pick some like, well, maybe saying like random dude off the street is a bit harsh, but then it's like there was like no attempt at getting these actors to just like sound like the film actors.
Yeah, no.
I mean, you look at Indiana Jones and a lot of his games, and some actors sound more like Harrison Ford than others, but there was always an effort to get them to sound like Harrison Ford. But in the early Star Wars games, there was like little to no effort.
It wasn't
you could be watching or playing as Qui-Gon Jinn, and it's like, well, that's very clearly not Liam Neeson.
There's that, yeah.
I mean, since Liam Neeson is down to doing Star Wars projects, regardless of how small the cameo, like maybe you could get him to voice act.
For example, do it for
Dermot.
For example, doing it for the episode 1 game, if they do remaster that one or port it.
Okay, like if they got if we got I mean, obviously the original voice actors give the game a certain charm, but like imagine if we got a remaster of the Phantom Menace game and they just like got most of the movie cast. I mean, granted, some of them like Jake Lloyd just, even if due to like circumstances even like wanted to do it, just would not work. It would be a Daniel Logan TCW thing where, okay, you are clearly like way too old to be playing this character, but like because it's the actor, you forgive it. But yeah, whatever. Just
something I just noticed in the episode 1, the Jedi Power Battles image, the one that they announced in the trailer, Mace Windu's lightsaber is actually purple, whereas if you check the original box art, it's actually blue. Because you remember, before Attack the Clones, the lightsaber was blue, but once that movie came out, it turned out to be purple, and the hilt is pretty much the same one from the Phantom Menace. So I guess whomever edited this image kind of forgot the small detail, but okay.
This was the interesting time when, we haven't gone to episode 2 yet, so give the characters just like random lightsabers. Like, remember when Ki-Adi Mundi had a purple lightsaber?
Oh, that reminds me. This game, Jedi Power Battles, it actually has the main menu where it shows Ari Galia using a red lightsaber. Yeah,
And
no kidding.
Plo Koon has an orange saber.
Yeah,
Yellow.
yeah, it's one of those. Yeah.
And
So,
it's
oh, they literally did change it.
I I
Yeah,
guess
Plo
this
Koon in
is
the game has a yellow lightsaber.
the whole because Jedi Power Battles was published during that pre Saber Color crackdown period in the EU, hence why orange and red and yellow and what have you were a thing for a time.
Mm. Yeah. So as you can see here, guys, apparently, Aspyr decided to give Mace Windu his purple lightsaber, even though the hilt is the. yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
really, you make changes to the game, and this is the only one you really go for. I mean, yeah, I know it's a simple color swap, but still, it's like, oh yeah, let's not like change the bounty system and bounty hunter even further. Like, oh, but when it comes to Mace Windu's lightsaber, God forbid it's blue.
Don't forget also
I mean-
removing the continuous system.
Oh, God fucking damn it.
And also, but then again, we are talking about the same company who have just come off of a remaster where they didn't change any of the systems that actually needed changing, but they could find the time to put an up-to-date scan of the fucking EU comic in the extras.
Yeah, that
And
one.
also putting in a Boba Fett skin.
Which even by the standards of those graphics, I don't think looks very good.
I mean, it works for what it is, but it's like, there was some like serious changes that needed to be done in order to like really give that game the proper finalized push it needed. Now, I mean, I can't really speak on the quality of Jedi Power Battles because, like I said, I only played it once as a kid and I was so bad I couldn't even get past the first level. But, we'll just have to see what state this game is released in. Will it be, a quality controlled final product, or will we get another Battlefront Classic collection? Also, throwing this out there, Lucasfilm, give Rebellion the green light to remaster their Battlefront games, for the love of God.
What if Aspyr does it?
Like, Rebellion is one of the few fucking companies we have that's not only made Star Wars games, but they still exist. Period.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, get them to remaster the games because it just makes fucking sense. Release it in a 2-pack. Also, I would say you might as well throw in the PSP port of Battlefront 2. Although, you see, that's another thing. Aspyr could have put in the PSP exclusive modes
Yeah,
in
they
their
could.
Battlefront 2 remaster. The point being, we could easily get the PSP Battlefront games remastered by the original developers. And I would say that is a best case scenario for those two games.
Yeah, it would be definitely. Yeah.
Because, like, please. I suppose also getting a proper finished release of Battlefront 3. I know that's not gonna ever happen, but
This
And then, of
that's
course,
middle.
let's not forget the concept for Battlefront 4, the Infinities
Oh,
game.
the
Oh
alternate,
god.
yeah. And those
Oh,
alternate universe concepts for that were really cool.
oh fuck. Mm.
You know what we should do? Wait, have
Oh.
we done a video on just like the various canceled Star Wars video games?
No, we haven't done that. No.
Wouldn't hurt to do that at some point. Just, we can like go through the list, look at all the various material that's been released of each one, and just slowly but surely want to kill ourselves by the end of it. Get to something like 1313 and
oh.
the mall game, and it's like, fuck.
Force Unleashed 3.
Force Unleashed 3, which we could have gotten a fucking novel of.
Battlefront 3. I still want that game. I still want
First,
it.
First Assault.
Oh yeah, that one too. The Call of Duty game in Star Wars.
Republic Commando 2.
No fuck.
Oh,
No. Though they
Well,
claim,
at least story wise,
well, that one, yeah.
we could have gotten it in the books, but for whatever fucking reason, they didn't do it.
Lucasfilm said no. No, Sev is our character. You can't use it in the novels. We want to do something with him in a game. Except they never did a game.
Even though I'm pretty wasn't Republic Commando 2 canceled like fairly early on in development?
It was canceled before the first
was
game even
before-
released.
yeah.
So then it's like what the fuck?
Maybe they wanted to wait for the game to. If the game was a big seller, it probably could have made them be like, okay, let's redo that sequel. But because it didn't happen, then of course it was like, oh yeah, not many people care about, so why would we do a sequel? So yeah. But then it begs the question: why don't they just let Sev just have its conclusion to his story in the novels? Like that's just puzzling, like very puzzling.
As someone who's seen through the game, I would argue there was absolutely no fucking reason to end the game the way they did. They could have easily had the four of them just like be together instead of like, where is he?
They could have, yeah.
What's the fucking point of that?
To set up a sequel of some kind.
But it's like they didn't need to do that though.
Well, probably not, but there you go.
Yeah, so like, yeah, I think we should definitely do a video going through the various canceled Star Wars games just to see us slowly but surely lose the will to live.
Oh, no, one interesting video, yeah. Though it certainly will be after the project we do have pending to do in the end of this year. Won't say where it is. Won't say where it is. Surprise, audience. So, yeah. Anyway, anything else to mention on Jedi Power Battles, guys?
Well, I guess just saying my final thoughts here. I'm flabbergasted that we are getting this remastered at this point instead of getting a ton of others before. But on the plus side, though, if this is a sign of things to come, then there could be an announcement in the future that'll make me very happy indeed, at least at the expense of another person here. So at the very least, I won't leave this whole debacle. Well, I say debacle, not debacle, but leave this whole affair with, at least a bit of smile on my face rather than total fucking misery because we could have gotten a really great release of Bounty Hunter for fucking reason they didn't go all the fucking way with it.
And the general can attest to it. If you see his live stream, he literally was suffering hard because of the stupid continuous system and the bounty system, because of how it was. Even with the improvement of making time slow down when using it, he still wasn't able to go for all the bounties because it was just a pain in the ass to do so.
So it's like Night Dive. I know you like taking your time, but if you don't get off your fucking asses, Aspyr is gonna take every other Star Wars game we would want to be remastered by you.
Well, God, they at least do Dark Forces 2, Shadows of the Empire, and the Rogue Squadron games. I hope
At the
to God.
very least. I mean, at this point, I think it's safe to say they are doing Dark Forces 2 at the very least.
What if?
Shadows of the Empire.
Yeah. What if somehow, despite it being like already hinted at us that they're doing Dark Forces, that Night Dive started doing Dark Forces 2, what if somehow Aspyr somehow snatches that game from them? Yeah,
Don't
you know what?
give them ideas.
I mean,
Okay,
to be
yeah.
fair, Luke, if they decided to do Jedi Power Battles, like who even knows what goes into their decision making?
Yeah, I don't even know.
They're the wild Joker card. You have no fucking idea with them. But you know, Night Dive. If actually, what's Night Dive working on right now?
Night Dive, they're working on the thing remastered. Sorry,
Oh
let me
yeah, I
pull-
forgot about that. You see, like that is a game right there that like definitely needed like a solid remaster.
Mhm. They're working on the thing remastered. They're also working on Killing Time Resurrected. It was a 3DO first person shooter.
Fucking 3DO.
Yeah, fucking 3DO version of that game exists. Yeah, Killing Time. They're working on that on the thing. They're also working on a System Shock 2 Enhanced Edition. They're also doing that, and that's the projects they're doing at the moment. Like that's so far. They've not yet announced any others. Of course, we know the Dark Forces 2. They've already made subtle hints at them doing it, in particular the CEO himself. So we can definitely expect that. Oh, they're also doing Sin Reloaded. I forgot about that. They're also doing Sin Reloaded. So their latest release is the Doom plus Doom 2 remasters that they did. They released what a few 2 months ago, if I recall. So
Didn't include 64, huh?
they already did that one. They did it like 3 years ago, when Doom Eternal came out.
Yeah, you see, that's one of those things where like I think it just would have made sense to have Doom 1, Doom 2, and 64 together.
Yeah, they're together on Game Pass, so you can get them there. But
Okay, so yes, Night Dive, like please, at the very least, Dark Forces 2 and Shadows, like the other games, let's face it,
Aspyr's gonna take them.
we have lost.
Fuck.
Let's face it, like general, like pull up that image again.
Which one?
The one of the games we want Night Dive to remaster.
Oh, you're talking about the game. Give me a second. I'm pulling it again. The one that is gonna give us pain, absolute pain and misery to see. Well, at least one of them,
As
because
general, just like pull it up. Like,
I was getting
let's
it.
be real, guys. Like, Dark Forces 2 and Shadows, I think, are definites, but like all these others, Aspyr is gonna like gobble them up and
Ugh.
give us the shit.
How much can I bet that this is the next one in 2025?
Because at the rate they are going, like, we are going to get like pretty much all of these games within the span of a few years, I'd imagine.
They seem to do one every 4 to 5 months.
So probably by like the end of the decade, we'll have like pretty much all the big console Star Wars games remastered by Aspyr. With hopefully Night Dive at least saving Forces 2 and Shadows. That's all I can really hope for at this point. Everything else is just, well, I gotta like take off my hat, put it over my heart, and give a eulogy to these other games. You could have been something, my friends, but in the end, it didn't even matter. Aspyr gobbled you up, and now you're lost.
I know you're
The spark is out.
Fuck. Well, hence the spark is out. Look, yours will be out if they grab, you know what, right? Episode 3.
If they take episode 3 and do a shit job of it, then yes. If it's actually passable, well, given how they've treated Battlefront, if the episode 3 game was to be warped, I would not be surprised. But
Best case scenario, they do episode 3. They do episode 3, do a good job of it, but they don't put the multiplayer. Worst case scenario, releases a buggy, glitchy, broken mess like Battlefront Classic Collection.
You know, it really does boggle my mind. Like with the Battlefront games, all you really needed to do with them was include the DLC
and multiplayer.
And, you know, higher resolution. Like, that is all you needed to do. And they still fucked it up.
Yeah, what's that old saying? You had one job.
I mean, at least with someone like Bounty Hunter, like, yes, I'd say like most normal people wanted changes made to that game to make it much more playable, and in some cases just outright playable. I'm looking at you, bounty system. But it's like, no, but at the very least, you know, that's them needing to make changes to the game. Without the Battlefront games, they literally needed to do nothing but put in some code, you know, for higher resolution and also the DLC and bada bing, bada boom, but
and online multiplayer.
I mean, I feel like that, yeah. So, Aspyr is a very interesting company. Like, I will certainly never forgive them for the whole KOTOR 2 DLC debacle. Like, they could have, like, not announced that until, you know, things were finalized and they knew for a fact they could release it. But instead, they announced it, got everyone's hopes up, and then, of course, we all know what happened. It's just... Aspyr really is all over the fucking place. It really is annoying because, like, I look at Night Dive's work and it's like, oh, they, like, put, like, so much fucking effort into their releases. It's like from the ground up, basically. But then Aspyr, for the most part, they really just do the bare minimum.
It's
which in some cases is like...
It's a rarity if they actually do a lot of effort. I think the Tomb Raider Remaster is like the only one that they actually put a lot more effort than usual, and that's about it. Yeah,
I mean, they even updated the models, including the ones for the cutscenes. So then it's like, okay, you put in effort for like the Tomb Raider trilogy, but like don't do the same for all these Star Wars games. It's like
they were Embracer were their handlers though.
Oh yeah, they own the Tomb Raider IP.
Yeah, fair enough. So I guess it's just a case of Lucasfilm Games not really giving that much of a shit. This is the real tragedy, you know. On the one hand, you know, it's nice getting these games remastered and re-released, but on the other hand, it's like, wow, these are not the releases we should have gotten.
Or the games are not as good as we remember.
These are not the Hang on. These are not the remasters you're looking for. These are not the remasters we're looking for. Wait until good ones come out. Wait until good ones come out.
We won't
We
give
will
these
all.
games to Night Dive, but Aspyr will do fine. No, they won't. Aspyr will do fine.
No, they won't.
Do you
What?
think you're some kind of business genius waving your hand around like that? I am a gamer. Mind tricks don't work on me. Only games.
Microtransactions
No,
don't work on me. Only only base
Full con-
content or something. The point being, we are not in the best timeline with this.
It's kind of it's kind of ironic. We're in the best. We're right. We're starting to be in one of the best timelines for Metroid. We're certainly in one of the best timelines for other franchises. Not so much Castlevania. We're just getting remasters. Right? We're starting to get Silent Hill, Metal Gear stuff. So that's positive. We're certainly living in a great time for Resident Evil. But when it comes to Star Wars, right now we're on the kind of shithole because Outlaws is like underperforming. Remasters wise, we got Classic Collection, which is a piece of shit. Then we got Bounty Hunter, which is just all right, but it didn't solve any of the major issues of the game. And now we're getting Jedi Power Battles, which is just gonna be an HD port with some minor tweaks that some make no sense. Why tweak means when lightsaber color. And that seems to be it. And we're likely going to be getting episode 3 of the game in 2025 from Aspyr. Sorry, look.
It really is frustrating because, earlier today we got Sonic X Shadow Generation Start Beginnings episode 3 released, and that put me in a really good mood. I mean, a really good mood.
And then this announcement shattered it.
I wouldn't say shattered it, but it certainly reminded me of the state of things, the state of play, so to speak.
Oh,
And just so it's like, man, on the one hand, I think like the Sonic series is moving, like, I think the Sonic series overall is moving in a good direction, and I'm really excited for
it
the
looks like
future
it is.
between, Sonic Movie 3 looking to be the best Sonic movie and perhaps even the best video game movie, period. I think the Super Mario animated movie is overrated, but that's just me. And then, Sonic X Shadow Generations looking fucking spectacular. And then, I look at something like Star Wars and it's like, it's, I don't want to say it's not on life support, but it's like, what the fuck are you doing? It's like, the new stuff is like whatever for the most part. And then when it comes to the re-releasing of the older stuff, some of it can be really good, like the Epic collections. But then, the video games get really screwed over on that front. It's and then of course at the same time, I've been watching the videos from one God damn it, what's the name?
something.
Yeah, hold on, let me just find.
But
yeah, David Wadey, watching through the videos from David Wadey as he delves into into all of the unfinished story arcs of TCW and us getting to see what could have been if that series hadn't been canceled. It's like, fuck.
There's a lot of canceled Star Wars stuff.
So it's like, looking back at the past of Star Wars and oh god, it's like, the point being that the Star Wars games aren't in the best position right now, even though it's not that hard. There was a time when, like, oh my god, we could get like 4 to 5 like major, I guess I'd just say AAA Star Wars games released, and all of them could be either good to mid, but still, quite enjoyable.
Hmm.
But now it's like we have to, well, now it's not only do we get less games, but also it's up in the air on the quality. Oh, the original EA Battlefront? Well, that had so little content that by the time we got the $40 worth of DLC, you had
It was
a
$50
$100
actually.
game with less content than the original game. One might even say even the PSP games. And then, Battlefront 2, well, that had the whole microtransactions fiasco, which got legit governments involved. And then, you have the various, remasters, some of them having like serious fucking issues, problems. It's just sigh.
Yes.
I guess all that to say, Star Wars video games aren't in, and of course, Outlaws releasing the way it did. Of course, that's just a problem overall with gaming, of shit just being way too fucking expensive. Just like what, like $130 for
The Ultimate Edition, yes.
to get like everything in the game. It's just, how the fuck did we get here?
Greed.
And
Corporate
so then
greed.
it's like you have these remasters of older games, which should be like easy fucking wins. Like, easy. Like, at the most, you might have to make some changes, like with Bounty Hunter. But, overall, the game is already there. Just make some slight adjustments and bada bing, bada boom. But we can't even do that. Or we can't even get that. So, like, if my hope would be that eventually Aspyr can get to a point where it's like, okay, they'll never be on the same level as Night Dive, but at the very least,
Do some good work.
I would love for us to reach a point where Aspyr can like announce a game and it's like, oh well, we know that's going to be a fairly decent release, instead of now where it's like, okay, well, it's like, is this going to be like a Battlefront Classic Collection situation? Is this going to be like a where like the game's a broken mess? Is this going to be a Bounty Hunter situation where the obvious changes weren't made? Or, is it going to be like an episode 1 racer where, fairly decent overall?
Pretty good, actually.
So, it's like we have 3 different categories when it comes to Aspyr Star Wars releases. And so every time we get a new announcement, it's like, well, which category is it going to fall under? And I don't like the fact that we even have to think about that.
Yeah, we definitely shouldn't, but yeah. Look,
We're kind of in a repeat, like, how EA Front 2 left the Star Wars fan base so deflated in terms of, oh, we'll never get a good game, and we were just desperate for something to be not terrible, and then Jedi Fallen Order comes out. We're kind of in that situation again, but this time around with the remasters.
And Outlaws. Yeah, we're kind of in that category now with the re-releases and Outlaws. So we'll just have to see what Disney Star Wars has in store for us, for not only a new Star Wars game in the same canon, but what's the next re-release. I just hope for next year we can at least see. It will be difficult because Night Dive still has to finish the Thing remastered and Killing Time and Sin Reloaded. But once at least 2 of those 3 are out, I hope they can at least announce, hey, we're doing Dark Forces 2. Let's go. and that would definitely be sick that they can at least announce it. Just announcing it will ease my fears of. I'm not gonna say it because I'm gonna jinx it, so I'm not saying it. But yeah, and then after that, well, then that means that now it will be Henson's turn to get his wish come true of Shadows of the Empire remastered by Night Dive.
Like, I'm fairly confident in that happening because really, I feel like Aspyr would have done it by now. Unless Disney Lucasfilm is holding off on or is preventing them from doing it.
I think it's according to the guys in Night Dive. They basically they basically has said that you have to approach Disney and pitch and pitch what Star Wars game you remaster, and they pretty much give you the go ahead to do it if they like it or not. So maybe they would be holding off Shadows of the Empire, or maybe Aspyr has simply not suggested Shadows of the Empire. It could be either one. So who knows on that?
Doesn't make any sense to me. Like
Which one?
Like not doing Shadows of the Empire, like doing shit like, Force Unleashed, Republic Commando, like KOTOR 2, like doing those games. Yeah, doing those games early makes sense. So does doing Shadows of the Empire early, but they didn't.
It's odd. I mean, we don't know what the hell Aspyr's thinking. I mean, their latest game is a freaking arcade beat 'em up that not many.
It's as I said, wild Joker card. We don't know why they do what they do.
Yeah,
it really is an eclectic bunch of releases we have. It's like, I think it would have been cool to have like some kind of logical order to the games that we got. Like, imagine if it was like, oh, we have Bounty Hunter released, then we get The Clone Wars, and then we get Revenge of the Sith, that sort of thing. But
or Jedi Starfighter somewhere in there.
The point being, having some kind of logical order of release here, but we don't. It's like all over the fucking place.
The only consistent we have is that they do mostly 6th gen games, sometimes 5th gen, but not always. Whereas Night Dive is the other way around. They do more 5th gen, sometimes 6th gen.
Oh yes, let's do the last two Dark Forces games instead of doing the first two. It's like, why?
I think it's because they're more proficient at doing 6th gen stuff than 5th gen. Because 5th gen they've only just done the Tomb Raider trilogy as of late, and they did Episode 1 Racer a while back, and now they're doing Jedi Power Battles. Though that could be because of the Dreamcast port. So excluding the Dreamcast port, excluding Jedi Power Battles because of the Dreamcast port, and excluding which is the other for 15 Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver 1 and 2. Okay, excluding Jedi Power Battles, Dreamcast port, they've only done 3 remasters of 5th gen games: Tomb Raider 1 to 3, Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver 1 and 2, and Episode 1 Racer, and that's about it. So they've only done one Star Wars game that it's 5th gen from the 5th gen era. Only one. So as far as we know, they don't seem to have too much proficiency on 5th gen. They're much better with 6th gen because they've done plenty more 6th gen games. They've done both the last Jedi Knight games. They did Republic Commando. They did Knights of the Republic 1, 2. They did the Battlefront games, Bounty Hunter. They've also done the Force Unleashed 1, the Wii/PS2 version. Like the one consistency we can say is that they usually do 6th generation games, sometimes 5th, but they do 6th gen. Night Dive is the other way around. They do more 5th gen stuff, sometimes 6th gen stuff.
So, which, it does make sense, but also and I know gameplay wise, you also have to think of that when it comes to the Dark Forces games, because it's like, what the fuck? But still, though, it's like it just would have made more sense to release them in order.
Yeah.
Because, Kyle Katarn is a character in all of them, so we get to see his story rather than just like cutting.
Yeah.
But the point being, it's like their release, their releases just don't make any fucking sense.
They don't. I think just pick whatever 6th-gen game and they just start doing it and they just release it when it's ready, and then once either mid development or when they just release it, just commission the other one right away. Like it
Or
could
it's
be.
like, oh, let's release Bounty Hunter when Mando Season 1 or Season 2 comes out.
Yeah, good on that, but they didn't.
Yeah, just like Aspyr is a very strange company that makes a lot of weird decisions, and yet here we are still talking about their fucking upcoming releases.
Jedi Power Battles. So yeah,
I didn't think we would get this game this soon.
I didn't think
Could
so
have gotten
either.
like the entire Rogue Squadron trilogy.
Which you think would have been an easy way to do it, but no, for some reason they're not doing it. Yeah. Now, if they somehow announced Trilogy Arcade, I literally gonna say they literally take my idea and ran with it. Because apparently, according to Aspyr, I'm one of the very, very, very few that suggested that game to them.
I'm honestly not surprised there.
Yeah, I know. I'm one of the very few
Because
that really
nobody gives a shit besides you.
Yes, I know I'm the only one that cares. Actually, I know I'm the only one that cares that game being remastered, especially on PC.
I guess you'll have to do what Hux did in the Colin Trevorrow script for episode 9 and take Mace Windu's lightsaber and kill yourself with it.
Lol, actually, was there? That's kind of funny.
Yeah, you should definitely read the Colin Trevorrow script, the Duel of the Fates script, because it is completely fucking different than the J.J. Abrams version we got.
That'll be interesting. So
The point being, General, you are the only person who wants that game. So let's face it, it's
I
either never
know.
gonna fucking happen, or Aspyr is gonna take it.
They're gonna take it, they're gonna run with it, and I'm gonna be like, please just be a good HD port, just be a good HD port, just be a good HD port. That's probably the only thing I'm gonna be saying so much repeatedly, which is probably what Luke is saying right now repeatedly when it comes to the game that we know is coming out next year.
And it's as I said, when it comes to Aspyr, you have 3 different categories of releases. So whenever they announce something, you have to wonder, is it going to be a solid release? Is it going to be a broken mess that needs to take multiple fucking patches to fix? Or is it going to be
incomplete,
a game that should have had changes made, but it didn't go far enough with it? I mean, at least with Trilogy Arcade, with that, well, I suppose releasing that as a buggy I guess the worst thing would be releasing it as a buggy, unplayable mess.
It's the only way they can fuck it up. I mean, it's just it's a 30-40 minute arcade game's worth of content.
Yeah, so
and on rails.
At the very least with that game, and even if it does release as a buggy mess, that'll be patched. So at the very least with that, I don't think you would have like too much to worry about. Well, unless they have an insane file size on it.
Oh, Christ, yeah. So that's me. Look, what are your final words on Jedi Power Battles and the fact that Aspyr probably will do episode 3?
Stop it. I personally don't see the appeal in them doing Jedi Power Battles. Personally, I think it will be a miracle if this game if this port turns out to be on par with Aspyr's earlier Star Wars ports. And this is actually one of those cases where I highly doubt we'll be covering the port when it releases. So
Doubt it.
as it, we certainly won't have a video game discussion for it like we've done for other ones. So I guess from afar we'll just see how this goes.
We'll see. Yeah, we definitely don't need to discuss it like we did Bounty Hunter. Since Bounty Hunter, well, that certainly was one that,
I meant as in do a signature video game discussion video for it.
kind of like
not a
Nestor.
live stream like this.
Oh yeah, kind of like Nestor Republic.
Yeah, I assume we won't be covering this remaster in that sense, or in that way rather.
But what if it's episode 3?
Episode 3, I would love to discuss that one as a typical SOSW video. I would not want to do a video on it if, like, I wouldn't want to do a video on dedicated to the remastered version if Aspyr do that, it comes out and it's shit.
Hey, if it's shit, then shouldn't we do it?
What as in do a usual video, as in do a trademark SOSW video for the episode 3 remaster?
Oh, I was more on the remaster. If the remaster shit, but if it's not shit and it's solid, then we would just do the actual game itself, and then somewhere in the latter half of the video we say that the Aspyr board is pretty good. And now if it has one key issue or something, we would mention it. Missing multiplayer maybe. So we'd mention that.
It depends. Like, I would love, as I say, I would love to do a trademark SOSW video for the Revenge of the Sith game. In terms of doing that style of video dedicated to the remaster, especially if the remaster sucked, that would be a much harder pill to swallow, I think.
Yeah, indeed. As for me, well, I mean, okay, Jedi Power Battles, that game, I've known about it. I've seen some videos online. It always looked interesting from a looking at it and being like, I mean, it looks fine. It looks fine. It's a game that might be interesting to maybe just randomly emulate or something. Never thought it would actually get a remaster, or it was never on my list of Star Wars games to remaster first and foremost, because I certainly would have gone with the ones that we've already mentioned. We want remastered more than this, but guess we did this once. We're getting this one, so yeah, we'll see from far away how it is. I don't think we're gonna be doing a video on this one, unless somehow it's an even glitchy, buggier, worse piece of shit than Classic Collection, but I doubt it.
Yes, I very much feel like this game will release, and
some will play it, and yeah, some will play it. Others might see walkthroughs of it, but it will be just a footnote in Aspyr's like history. It won't even be as relevant as Bounty Hunter. So
we should definitely do a more positive video in the future to help really balance things out and make things
positive in terms of what? Aspyr remasters?
I just mean in general.
Because
Because,
Okay.
between all these Aspyr live streams we've done, which have slowly but surely crushed all of our souls into nothingness. And plus the project we got coming up, which is gonna want to
So,
throw
speaking of
myself after that one.
speaking of soul crushing,
So, yeah, we should definitely do well, and plus Luke and I doing our Bad Batch. Well, those are positive, but still. So it would be nice to do more positive stuff. I mean, I guess we did. Wait, is Mall Lockdown out yet or no?
yeah, Mall Lockdown. Wait, Mall Lockdown actually? No, we did Outbound Flight. That did release.
God, we're so fucking behind.
Well, some real episode, but Outbound Flight's pretty positive. So that's a good one.
So yes, people, we recorded a podcast for Mall Lockdown, which was very much a mixed bag, so to speak.
Yeah, I wasn't as positive. Outbound Flight definitely was more positive.
Well, Outbound Flight was like good.
Yeah.
Mall Lockdown was like, why does this exist, and why were these specific decisions made?
Yeah.
So it would be nice for us to do a video where it is like primarily positive. I don't know what the topic would be, but I still think Luke and I should do videos regarding TCW. But
you were saying, look,
I think obviously we've still got Bad Batch to finish, and
we're live. Apart
from
yes, I know.
Yeah. We've still got still got Bad Batch. Wait.
Maybe not. Maybe one person. But anyway.
Well, it doesn't matter. Say what you were, Luke.
Go ahead.
Wait, hang on. Where is Henson gone?
No idea. Anyway, so what are we gonna say, Luke?
Well, as I say, we've still got Bad Batch to finish, but following on from that, it would be nice to get back into the old swing of things where we, for the most part, discussed things that we wanted to discuss. Because I feel like it's been a very long time since we were doing that on a regular basis.
Yes, it has been a while since our Mall Lockdown was the last book/comic we talked about, and that episode isn't out yet. Yeah, like I said, I would like to talk about TCW and TCW tie-in stuff. I feel like Luke and I could do that.
Well, given that I already rewatched the entire TCW, that would be a fun one to join in.
Because I need to talk about the unfinished arcs. And thankfully, Luke here is watching those videos, so he'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
That's fun.
But yes, so
indeed.
We
anyway,
can do that big project video for December, but after that, I do think we should think of a more positive video to do.
There's that. Anyway, so final thoughts on this Jedi Power Battles.
I've already said everything. It's a
I know.
release, but
I'm talking about mine.
It's happening, so we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. So yeah, and that is pretty much it. We'll see you guys on the next State of Star Wars video. Bye bye.
See ya.
May the Force be with you.